live! Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's another episode of Venture Maidens. And not only is it just another episode, it's our Dirty 30! Yay! It's
Yay!
episode 30! Oh my god, we've made it. We're at the fun, flirty, sexy age of 30. Which is great and very
We're
timely.
mature.
Yeah, we're mature. We've got our shit together, but we're still having like a ton of fun. Amazing. How are you all feeling? 30 episodes.
Whew, I'm feeling, definitely falling into the role, feeling mature, feeling like level-headed and like ready to dive into stuff.
Yeah, I feel like you all are like getting a handle on things in a lot of ways, and this is kind of like a turning point. You know, y'all were like new to the world and babies before this, but
Bebes.
now here you are solving mysteries, fighting Fae in the mortal plane. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. Cool. Well, shit. Let's go ahead and get into it, because I'm very excited. So, hey everybody, my name is Celeste Konowich, and tonight I will be your dungeon master.
Hello, I'm Katie, and I'm going to be playing Laveri Sath, your drow rogue.
Hello, I'm Nassim Etamad, and I'm playing your half-orc fighter, Fitonia Silvertail.
And I'm Sage, and I am your beloved bard, Aoife Flannery.
Yes! So for those of you who don't know or new here, welcome. This is a Dungeons & Dragons actual play, 5th edition podcast set in the world setting established in the Venture Maidens campaign guide, otherwise known as The Plains. I will say this is a very adult-themed stream, so you can expect mature themes. In all of our episodes, we keep just like a general body horror content warning up for, graphic fantasy violence and all of that nonsense. We also do, for this arc in particular, this episode, we have some specific content warnings, including drowning, suffocation, and like intense grief, especially family-based tragedy. So if those are themes that you don't feel up to handle, this may not be the episode for you to watch or listen to. But with that out of the way, oh my gosh. So we are in the middle of a mystery. So last episode, we met a lot of people, and we started to get some clues about something that is happening here. So before we, pick up on the action, let's go ahead and do a recap. So what happened last time, y'all? Deep sigh. What didn't happen?
Yeah. So we basically were all meeting up. I believe it started off, we met up at the meadery place. Is that where we began?
Well, first we had Zaddy time with Tony's father.
We had Zaddy time.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was reunited.
Yeah, we had a daddy sighting, daddy watch. Yep.
Mm-hmm. I still don't think I don't
Daddy
think
watch.
I've run into
This is the Daddy Watch podcast. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. I need to post a picture of what he was.
Your fantasy
referencing.
daddy. Yeah, absolutely.
My fantasy daddy. Okay, I can't say that about my own daddy. Okay.
Oh, God.
Well, yeah. We met up. We reunited. It was very nice and fun, and he helped us. Oh, I also met up with my uncle, and he was like, yeah, there's going to be a dinner later at the house with the whole family before the wedding, so you guys should come, get to know everyone, and start your interview process, which we agreed to do.
We could, if just for the recap too, if we just want to give like a little summary so far on the action, I think including the episode before, let's just do that real quick. So what are we doing? What are we doing here? What are we looking at?
So the reason we're here is because Rook brought us a stack of new bounties after our month-long break of some downtime after the traumatic events with Penny Dreadful. And so basically towards the top of the stack was this notice about a wedding for Tony's cousin, which Tony was very surprised to find out about Enzo being married to Reina of the Oleana family, which we know is one of the four, like, dynastial families of the Empire, like old Eldrin blood. And
money.
so
And money.
I mean, you don't have a throne without the cash. Let's be honest.
They'd be like what, the equivalent of like dukes and duchesses?
Like marrying a tutor.
So they actually trace their lineage. It's more like a family. I guess the best equivalent would be like if somebody, family in modern times could trace their bloodline to like Jesus Christ, like that's sort of the thing, because like the four noble families are named after the first four Eldrin ever, like created. So it was the four daughters who helped the mother and the father build the Eldrin Empire. So like that kind of mythological shit. In terms of like wealth and power, they're probably like, you know, the Kennedys, you know, in American society, right?
And so, but this bounty notice, of course, contained a suspicion of Fae activity being involved with the proceedings for this wedding, which was to happen in a few days on one of the 8 holy days, Oxana?
Oxia. Yeah, the festival.
Oxia. Festival of Oxia, which is towards the summer, very auspicious holiday for lovers, marriages, all these sorts of things.
That sort of, you know.
Yeah, so they are trying to rush in this wedding under the wire to have this wedding on this auspicious day. But the proceedings leading up to the wedding are being interrupted by weird activity of weird weather, of people having, especially the groom, having dark dreams, losing sleep over it, feeling these sort of presences, and all this sort of weird things that are happening. And so the Constable Sten, who is a family friend of the Oleanas, was sort of charged to look into this and is hiring out the job to bounty hunters to see if they can figure out what's doing it, what's going on, and deal with the problem discreetly. So we march in. Yes. Discreetly. So we march in and are doing an investigation to see what we can find out about this creature that might be the source of all these weird mishaps.
Yeah. And that's when, bam, yeah, the Silvertail showed up right at the end of that previous episode. And yes, we started the last episode with that conversation with your dad and your uncle and your brother Gio.
Yeah, and Toni is keeping her identity and relationship to the Silvertails quiet, so that we don't fall into, I don't know, any blame or conspiracy that it's tampered with.
Yeah, because tensions are high, and basically any way you can avoid throwing kindling on the situation is definitely a good idea. So yeah, you had that conversation, and then parted ways, and then what happened?
Lou got her flirt on.
If you can call it that.
Yeah, we can call it that. It is clearly what it was.
I call it running away.
Well, Cassie got her flirt on, I guess. Lou panicked.
Yeah, so I think we met Cassie, and you know, we found out that she's this Fae expert, essentially, who is being brought in to help with this case. And so she just made herself super comfortable in the tent, and started flirting with Lou. And Lou was like, holy shit, I gotta go, and went to go find food to feed people, because that's what you do. And so while that was going on, she had a little bit more of a conversation with Aoife, and Aoife gave her her notebook that she's been taking on all things Fae. And then I believe after that, that's when we met up at the meadery. Yeah. And we all had a conversation and everything, and about what was going on, what we wanted to do. And Lou excused herself to avoid more flirting because she was scared, and got herself one of the little earpieces and the schedule of events from the event coordinators. And then came back, had a conversation with Cassie about them and what it was going to be moving forward, and got invited to go to the lake and meet up later. So they did that. And then it was dinner time at that point, and we went back to the main building to catch up with people after their meal.
And so for some after dinner drinks, after people are nice and liquored up from all the dinner wine, and then, you know, after dinner drinks, we started chatting up some people. First, we hit up Enzo to get his side of the story, to try to understand, why are you getting married so quickly? That's obviously suspicious. Yep. And, you know, we want to clear this up. And he just went on and on about how how authentic their love is. They're just, they just really wanted to get, married. They had already been courting for a while anyway. And so everyone's acting like it's such a big deal that they're getting married so quickly, like she's pregnant or something. But it's not that. It's not that salacious. Yeah. They just really want to kick off their life together. And we're like, and that he basically chalked up the bad dreams to having cold feet before the wedding and everything. But he looked like hell.
Yeah. He looked like the life is being drained from his body.
And then after that, we went towards the west wing of the house to go talk to the mother of the bride while she was, surrounded with... Yes. Well, she was surrounded by company, and she excused them all, and we got to have a conversation with her a little bit. And we found out some interesting things about Reina's sister, Mina, who was formerly betrothed to Enzo, but had died a year ago, almost to the day at this point, but when she had gone out one night on a stormy evening to the like little island that's at the center of their man-made lake on their property of Lily White Hall, and had seemingly slipped on the rocks, hit her head, and died, which obviously to us was deemed very suspicious, of a young woman who spent her entire life on water, basically, would obviously know how to swim. It's weird that she went out on this very stormy, evening. So there's all kinds of weird circumstances around it that make us think that something's more, but she tried to assure us that it was just an accident. And she was just a grieving mother. And she really is happy for these two kids to get together and have a chance at real love and real happiness together.
Yep. Yeah. And then what happened?
Then it was real late, so we decided to take shifts posting up someone in Enzo's room to see if there's anything weird that happens while he's sleeping, that's maybe something's coming into the room that's causing these bad dreams. And so Aoife posted up in there, while Lou and Cassie went out to their lakeside jaunt in the evening after Lou had said, "All right,
2 a.m. date."
Yeah,
finally.
let's make it and it's like, let's make it a working date first of all, like, so it's not, so we don't have to call it a date. We've got a mission, obviously. Mm-hmm. And so they had taken a paddle boat onto the lake to head to the island. But while Toni was outside doing a patrol of the property to see if she could see anything that was coming in, Aoife was posted up in Enzo's room, and her see invisibility spell did not give anything of use, but she heard a cry coming down from the hall from Uncle Laurie's room, and water had been like seeping down the walls, and it appeared as if he was basically drowning, like he was coughing and spurting up water. And we had seen scratched into the wall the words, "See me." And thankfully, Aoife was able to stabilize them, and Toni came in to investigate. And then what did Lou and Cassie see?
Fine.
So right in the middle of this really intense conversation, Cassie noticed something on the shoreline of where they were headed, and it looked like there was a young Eldrin woman kind of on the shore in a nightgown, passed out seemingly, and they paddled their little butts over there, and that's where we left off.
Hell yeah! So just a few things, obviously, so we've got a lot of names, we've got a lot of clues and stuff. So if you all have any questions, please absolutely make sure to ask them. Do not feel bad about needing information recall. I'm happy to do that. Cool. So here we are. Let's do it. So that is exactly where we are picking up. This moment in time, the very last thing that had happened, in the middle of this date, Lou and Cassie had been in this stupid, like, swan paddle boat heading out, on 3 a.m. at this point, on a moonlit night, towards on the big, like, family, like, artificial lake that they have here, which is given Lily Hall its name. And there's, like, a little hideaway island with a cute, like, lake cabin atop it that you were heading out towards. And as you had been making your way there, discussing some intimate details of Lou's life and relationship history, Cassie had, spotted something on the shore. And Lou very quickly, with your amazing vision, had been able to take a look as well and see, there is a young woman lying there. Apparently, like, in a seeping, like, wet just nightgown collapsed on the shore. You're not sure. You're probably about 30 feet away or so from that shoreline there. So you're not sure if she's like dead or sleeping or what, but she is not moving. She is face down on the shore.
Yeah. So paddle as close as they can, and then Lou is going to jump out of the boat and run over to her and check for pulse, breath, all that.
Yeah. So you go ahead and you like hop out of the boat and do the the sludging over thing where you're stepping through water and like climbing up the shore. And Cassie is scrambling out of the boat, behind you. So you run over and you see her lying face down there. So you want to flip her over?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, you do so. And as you had seen before, this is a young Eldrin woman who looks an awful lot like Ariadne, that woman that you interviewed before. And though you haven't seen Reyna up to this point, it's pretty safe to assume that this may be her, just because of the striking resemblance she has to her mother. So as you flip her over, you can see, you confirm the fact she is absolutely not dressed to be outside. She's in that like long white nightgown. She is out cold. So her eyes are completely closed. But you can see that her chest is rising and falling. So she is not dead. She seems to be very much unconscious, just out cold here. And her hair is sopping wet too, and almost like she'd swim here, maybe, if you had to guess. And Cassie runs up behind you, is like, how is she?
She's breathing. Yay. Okay. Is this something that I feel like would feel like I need to do CPR, or is it just like she's just sleeping and she's fine?
Yeah, I mean, her chest is rising and falling, so she can breathe.
Okay.
So, and looking at her too, why don't you go ahead and give me that medicine check as you're kind of looking her over?
Sure. Yes, that is an 18.
Oh, okay, that's great. So you get down there looking for, life signs. So there's the chest moving and falling. You can put your ear up to her chest. You don't hear any like obstruction or anything. So there's no like water in her lungs. She seems fine. And you also look her over too. There doesn't appear to be any kind of injury, no like head wound or anything that might indicate why she is passed out here. She is very, very cold, obviously. The night is cold and she is wet. So you feel like she's probably going to be in trouble if you don't get her warm and dry soon. But there's no visible trauma you can see.
If she's not responding to like light shakes, saying her name, because I figured that's who she is at this point, then I guess I'm going to look for that cabin that we had originally been coming to go see and see if it's anywhere near that we could take her over there and get her inside.
Yeah, so now that you're looking at the island here, it's a very cute little island. It's not very large. You can see, I mean, what you had to climb over was that rocky, kind of sandy shoreline made up here. So you see on, both like most sides of this island, they are these like jagged kind of piles of rocks that look incredibly dangerous. Yeah, definitely nightmarish if they were to be wet to try and navigate. But you have landed on one of these little sandy patches. You can see there are a couple, like a very small dock that has been tied off here, so you could tie the paddle boat off at this point. And from this little beachy spot, there is a pathway that winds up through these like ornamental kind of tiered layers of trees and flourishing plants, all very well manicured and decorated. So you think probably about less than a 10-minute walk up, you would reach like the center area of the island, and you can just make out like the edges of some kind of white and golden domed structure up at the center top of the island.
Okay. We will look at Cassie and be like, "Do you want to grab her feet and we can try to get her up to where it's warm?"
Yeah, of course. And she, kind of struggles a bit, but helps you.
Neither of us are very strong.
Yeah, she doesn't look like the strongest lady in the world, but, she's tall and, you're tall, so it's fine.
Toni! Okay.
Raina's butt is maybe a little
Yeah.
close to the ground as you're like navigating up these twisting ways. But you do eventually up the winding path see this structure. And it does look almost like a gazebo as opposed to an actual cabin, but it is closed in here. You can see lovely painted like white shutters and a door with like lots of little flowers painted on it, and it's cute, ridiculously cute. Everything is closed up, like maybe people haven't been in here in some time.
Okay. I will gently set my half down and try the door.
The door is unlocked.
Okay, good. Don't have to get the lockpicks out just yet. Day one. Yeah, I'll go ahead and open the door and do a quick peek inside. And as long as I don't see any creepy movement, we'll go on in.
No, you look inside and it's cute. It looks like it's kind of a studio apartment style layout in here. So you see one of those nice, beautiful, like 4-poster beds in one corner, like a little door that leads off to, you know, a lavatory area. But otherwise it's like really kitschy, cute, like tables and chairs and yeah, what you would expect from a very like high-end glampy cabin inside.
Gotcha. All right. Take her over to the bed and get her tucked in for now so she gets warm.
Yeah, and like a quick search of the room too. You know, there is a wardrobe and there are some of those nice like fluffy robes and stuff that you can like, you know, throw her into one of those. And so it's packed. It's got the nice little soaps and like chocolates and shit. Very like Airbnb, fancy Airbnb.
Oh God. Why didn't we get to stay here?
What the hell? Well, apparently it's just open to anyone. So
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah. So you get her all tucked in, and the minute she is like warm and stuff, her temperature, her skin starts to return to a normal temperature, and she seems to be out of like any kind of immediate danger. And Cassie looks at you and is like, this is not how I expected this evening to go, but at least she's alive, I guess.
It could have been a worse date. That's a good way to look at it.
Always true. Yes. Good. Yeah.
I definitely want to return to our conversation at some point, but I feel like maybe now.
Not the time. Yeah. Yeah. What is she doing out here? It's wearing that.
Exactly. It's not like she decided to come out here. She's wearing her nightgown. She's like a rich lady. They don't do that. They got an outfit for everything.
Yeah. Okay. Well, do you want to stay with her, or should I stay with her? And we should probably get like a doctor out here, I guess, or her parents or something.
Yeah. I can go. You know, I'd better meet up with the girls and tell them what we found. Here, and she'll take like the earpiece that she took and give it to Cassie, and she's like, I got an extra one of these earpieces from the event coordinator, so you can scream into it if something happens and we'll come. Okay.
Ooh, presents on the first date. That's very nice.
I'm a lot of things, but I treat my ladies well, so next time it'll be better and more fun than this. I hope.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, go head back and I'll watch over her. No problem.
Okay. Well, thank you for a lovely paddle boat time. It was the most I've enjoyed a boat.
Yeah,
until the end. So I'm gonna
short and sweet. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, bye.
Okay.
And Lou's just gonna
try and do a paddle boat by yourself. That's gonna be super fun.
Like literally like straddling between them.
Yeah, trying to reach over so it doesn't just go in circles. Yeah.
This seemed like a good idea at the time.
Damn.
Yeah, so she will head back over across the lake to try to get some help for Rena.
All right. So yeah, you start awkwardly heading back across the water, doing your best. And we're going to go ahead and jump over to the scene with Aoife and Toni. So when last we left off, you had just basically saved Lori's life by using that lesser restoration and like getting it to the point where he coughed out all this water that was seemingly coming from nowhere that he was coughing out. And just as he had kind of stabilized, that was when Toni, you were able to arrive on the scene. And you had seen all of that, the weird, like the water that had been coursing like down the walls and the floor had started to dry up. As if exposed to like a heat lamp, just all of a sudden is gone. So there's no water left in the room. Your uncle is no longer in immediate danger. But in those last moments, you had tried to ask him, like, what's happening? Did you see anything? And he had like gone pale and terrified as he looked across, in his four-poster bed written on the wall, "See me," those two words scratched in to the wallpaper. So here you are. And your uncle is still, he's coughing and just taking things in, and he is so pale. You've never seen him show a lot of emotion in general, but seeing him this frightened, and it's very uncomfortable, Toni. You've never seen him like this.
Are the windows in his room open or closed?
They're closed.
Okay. Are you okay? Does anything else feel wrong, feel hurt, feel damaged in any way?
N- no. No, I'm fine. Thanks to you. He looks at you, Aoife. Thank you.
Toni turns to you as well and says thank you.
I'm glad I got here when I did.
Me too. I don't know what that, did you see anything? I've never felt anything like that.
I mean, I ran in here as soon as I heard you. I heard the maid scream when she saw the water coming up from under the door. But even with my spell to see invisibility and to see into beyond the veil on, I don't see anything in this room. And, she takes a quick glance around, especially looking at the scene, see me, and I'm assuming she sees nothing, no trace of anything.
Yeah, just the words. Like, that's the only thing left, right? Otherwise, there's no trace. There's not even, like, water. Like, whatever water he was coughing out, it's totally gone.
It's so peculiar because, I mean, if it were a matter as simple as a ghost, I'd be able to see it with this sight, but there's nothing.
Uncle, do you remember anything from your dreams? Did you have any dreams tonight?
Yeah, I just nightmares. All manner of horrible nightmares. It just and then feeling like I was choking, like I couldn't breathe, and then of course I woke up and I was the water, and I don't know where it was coming from, and just the pain and the feeling. I felt so heavy. I just couldn't breathe.
Like something was sitting on your chest, or like something was pulling you down?
Yes, like something, like just like that, like something was sitting on me, and you can see his eyes are also kind of working, like he's struggling to remember something, almost just out of reach.
Keep thinking about it. Keep reliving it. Keep seeing it.
I think I don't know if this was the nightmare or if it was real, but right before I woke up, I thought I saw a woman. Not a woman. Something. It had. It was like big glowing eyes and long black hair, and it was only for a second, and I'm not sure if it was real.
Did you have any kind of feeling of familiarity when you saw this figure? Did it frighten you? Did you feel anything?
Yes, it was. It was horrible. It like I said, I like woman, but not really. It was monstrous.
Do you think everyone here seems to be so in support of Enzo and Reina getting married, but I mean, do you think that anyone would have anything to gain from them not getting married?
No, both of them, Enzo, Reina, they're both good people, and as far as the Olyanas are concerned, if I had to pick an Eldrin family that was the most agreeable, it would be them. I've worked with them, I've known them for a very long time, all of them, and they're all good people. I don't understand why any of this is happening, and he seems to be getting very agitated as he's saying it, like the senselessness of it all.
Can you tell us, I mean, is there someone here who's good with magic who can put some protections on your room so that you can actually manage to get some sleep tonight? That is, if you even want to go back to bed. I understand if you don't want to.
I mean, I guess if that's why you're here, you probably know more about this than I do. I don't know I don't know any of this. Like, what? And it's at this point too that you hear kind of a knock outside. And the door was left open from you, like, storming in here. But for the first time, as that knock draws your attention, you can start to hear some, like, chattering of voices, like, worried voices out in the hall at this point. And you see Sten kind of pokes his head into the room they hear. And he walks in, surveys things, and kind of closes the door behind him as he steps into the room. Is everyone all right?
For the most part, yes. My uncle seems to have been attacked by whatever entity is causing all these troubles around this wedding.
God damn it.
And they attempted to drown him. There was water coming out of the room, out of the walls, out of his lungs.
I mean, this is by far the worst. The worst of it, then. Nothing like this has happened so far. I've done what I can to calm the situation. I'm encouraging people to go back to bed. Again, we don't want this getting out until we know what we're dealing with. So, if there's any way we can chase down some clues or something on this, I can watch over him in the meantime. But maybe if you take this to Cassie, this might give her a better idea of what we're doing with.
Out of character, how many more days are left until the wedding ceremony?
Yeah, so you will have one more day, one more night, and then on the dawn of that third day is when the festival and the wedding is supposed to be happening. So you have one more full day and evening before you have to get this solved, or this wedding may not happen on the dawn of day 3.
Did I just call him my uncle to Sten?
You did, and he didn't seem fazed by it. There is a pretty strong family resemblance, and he is a private investigator, retired detective, but he didn't give you any grief about it. So it's like maybe he figured it out early, and he just hasn't pressed the issue. He's not pressing it now.
I like how quickly that went out the window.
It's just him, though. I mean, and he is the one, relying on you all to be discreet.
Yeah, we'll not bring that up again. We'll just pretend like
just let that slide. Maybe he was thinking about something else. Maybe he didn't hear it. You don't know. There's a lot going on.
Is the rest of the household unaffected? Have they been checked on?
Nobody else seems to have experienced anything this evening. Obviously, the scream woke some people, but I've written it off as just a bad dream. The chambermaid is pretty shaken up, but I've done my best to convince her it would probably be best if this story didn't leave the house. Again, the last thing we need is people panicking.
I mean, yeah, it doesn't seem like any of the other people are really the ones at risk here anyway.
And I
It's
mean,
very much directed towards
your family, it seems. Enzo seems to have been the target for the last couple of nights. But you were watching him, right? And he looks at you, Aoife.
I was, and I didn't see anything.
So then for some
So
reason you're...
either
Yeah. Sorry, go for it.
I think, getting closer to the actual holiday and ceremony and everything, she or whoever's behind this, whatever creature's behind this, I feel like must be getting closer to their true target, is my guess at any rate.
Perhaps. And he kind of looks back, like, over his shoulder. He's talking to three of you, and your uncle is, like, sitting there kind of against the wall, just, like, taking deep breaths, recovering.
I guess
Perhaps
at any
this
rate,
isn't the best place to be doing this.
let's go get Lou and see if her and Cassie have uncovered anything and see if we can knock our heads together.
Of course. Do you want me to stay here and watch over him? There's only a few more hours until dawn. For the most part, it seems like most of whatever this is happens at night.
I suspect that, hearing that it's just been Enzo, I suspect it's probably maybe just one attack per night, but yeah, I suppose better to be safe than sorry.
Well, it seems like you're doing fine as you are, so I will stay here and just watch over him for a bit and make sure things here quiet down. But you go and do what you have to do, and you know where to find me if you need me.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna actually make a tea for him. Something just to help him get some shut-eye and feel a little bit more at peace.
Of course.
All right, I'll head out and see if I can spot Lou and Cassie and flag them down. We'll meet back at our tent.
I'll be there soon. Yeah, Tony's gonna go down to the kitchen in this house and try and gather up all the spices out of her herbalism kit and whatever's in the kitchen that she doesn't have, and wants to focus on creating a tea that will help him in any dream state to be more lucid, be a little bit more aware, so that should anything happen, hopefully he can remember it or control it in some way to not be so terrifying.
Cool. And just so
That is
you all...
the intention
Okay.
behind this tea.
Cool. Just so you all know, dear viewers, we very recently got copies of the Herbalism Primer Guide, which is a very cool book written by... Let me see. I have the name. Written by Anna Urbanek, which is like all about magical herbs and properties and shit, and it's very cool. So we're leaning into that a little bit with Tony's burgeoning herbalism skills. So Toni, do you have using your resources, your newfound proficiency, do you have any like specific plants or herbs in mind for this tea?
It, according to the guide, requires althea, anise, calendula, cinnamon, holly, mugwort, and yarrow.
Oh, cool.
I imagine in a standard kitchen, I'll probably only find like 3 of these.
Yeah.
So it'll be like an anise tea with cinnamon, holly, and I think she probably will have a little bit. I don't know what yarrow is.
Yarrow is like a tree bark.
I'm
So
gonna do some
actually,
It's a
research
yellow
here.
flower.
yeah. So yarrow is a relatively common ingredient. Holly actually might be something that would be a little harder to get out of season because we're just moving into
Out of season.
Mm.
in summer. But yeah, I think you can find enough of these ingredients. Luckily, this is a very wealthy home with a very well-stocked pantry and culinary staff. Also, they're preparing for a giant festival with a lot of food. So you can find most of these things. So I would say go ahead and roll. Let's roll a check with your herbalism kit here. So basically, you roll that with proficiency. So let's call it. What do you want? Like a nature check?
Well,
or-
that was a natural 20.
Oh shit. Okay. Well, damn. So you find
was a natural.
so much stuff you have, and what you don't have, maybe in your kit, you can supplement a few things or a few things that are adjacent enough to make a tea that you think like this is something your mother might make. You're like, there you go, at the level of proficiency. So yeah. So you're running around making this tea.
I'll return to the room. Give it to my uncle. Drink as much as you like. It's calming. It'll help settle your nerves at least, and I hope that you have sweet dreams.
Thank you. Really taking after your mother, aren't you?
Of course.
Thank
I
you.
mean, she always took care of all of us the best way.
It's good to have you here, Fatonia. I'm sorry, Toni.
I'm glad I'm here.
Figure this out, okay?
I promise.
All right. And he, yeah, by this point, he's like wearing, a dressing gown and sitting by a window and stuff. And he seems to have very little intention of probably ever falling back asleep. But he, sips the tea and is calmed. And Sten has like taken a place, on a parlor chair and is flipping through that newspaper. You saw him moving through earlier, filling in something, like maybe doing a crossword.
Mm-hmm. Well, I bid them both good night, and I'll make my way back to our tent.
Yeah, sure. So Aoife, you are heading out of there. Are you heading back towards like the tent, or just looking for signs of where Cassie and Lou went?
She had suggested that Lou and Cassie go off towards the cabin and the little island to investigate to see if they could see anything that was maybe out of place there, because that was the place that Mina died. Yeah. So she'll head out to the banks of the lake and see if she can try and see them, or if they, for when they come back, is there like, oh my god,
hi, holy shit. Yeah, so you start making your way like out of the the manor house and heading towards the shore, and it's not long at all before you're kind of startled, because out of a dark corner all of a sudden there's like a flash of movement and like a hand that lands on you, and you see like, oh shit, like Rook there in her now 16-year-old form, and she's like, what happened? I heard a scream.
Aoife flails.
Yeah.
Aoife flails back, her like with her arms flailing, and she's like, God, you scared the piss out of me. All right. I don't know what Lou and Cassie have figured out, if anything, but while I was posted up in Enzo's room, her Tony's uncle got attacked by whatever this thing is, and it was an invisible. It wasn't in the ethereal realm. It might not have even been in the room, but it was like it was drowning him, as if he was put underwater, and it was awful. It was clearly trying to kill him.
But he's
not dead. I saved him, thankfully.
Really? I mean,
she crosses her arm and like stamps her foot into the ground, like, how dare you?
Wait, sorry. Good job. Okay, all right, fine.
I know healing magic. It's the one thing I'm good at.
Yes. Sorry, I'm learning. Whatever. Oh, okay, fine. So that's fine. Everybody's alive. That's fine. Right.
Indeed, but this thing is getting more and more aggressive. It's just starting off with bad dreams and escalating to drowning, and Mina was drowned. It's all got to be connected.
Okay. Fine. That's actually not even why I came here to tell you so, but glad that's going. Who the fuck let a Corellan into our tent? That's what I'm fucking here to ask about.
What? What are you talking about? She
There's
said she
somebody's
didn't know
fucking
anything
stuff.
about Corellans.
Who the fuck? What? She's looking at you like,
Wait, who are you talking about? I'm talking about the hot girl that Lou's flirting with, or that's flirting with Lou, more appropriately.
Lou. I'm sorry, Lou. What? And it occurs to you, Rook never met Cassie. Rook has no context for what. Rook has been like gone all day, so she's like, Lou. Okay. One.
Wait, so
Super
who are-
weird coming back. Yeah, I mean, there's somebody's stuff in there. All these fake books, and then this. And she pulls out. You see now she has a big backpack on her that you didn't see because she's still kind of halfway in the shadows. And she pulls out that like big case that you saw before that Cassie had like stashed under her bed. And she's like, "This. What the fuck? We can't trust fucking Corellan. Who let her in? Why? Also, why are we sharing tents with these people? And what's going on?"
All right. So here's the deal. Sten, the constable that we got the job from, he hooked us up with Cassie, who he had mentioned in our initial meeting. Cassie is a book-learned Fae expert who has never spent time out in the wilds.
Are you
So
sure
she
about
had
that?
a tent near. Okay, well, not really. But I asked her directly, "Do you ever deal with the Corellans?" And she said no.
Oh, because Corellans don't lie, right?
And she
I'm sure
shrugs like, "How am I supposed to know this?"
What? I mean, look at this. And she flips
All
over
right,
the
so-
case, and like there's like a little. She's like feverishly pointing at like a little inscription that like kind of looks like a bell symbol that's been engraved in there.
Did you open it?
No. What if it's trapped or some stupid?
Well,
You open it, and she like kind of shoves it at you.
She puts her little fist on her hip and she takes it from her and she puts it on the ground and she very annoyingly opens the case.
Yeah, and you do, and Rook like backs up visibly as you do so. And as you look inside, you see the case opens up, and it is indeed an instrument case. And inside you see like a beautiful silver harp. It's like, a lyre. So a 7-string lyre. In there, and it's again like the curved silver with these patterns of like flowers and birds and just a freaking gorgeous instrument.
And Aoife puts her hand out to present like, "Are you happy? Look, it's not bells."
I don't think they have to use just bells. I think some have other instruments, and then why would there be a bell symbol on it? And then also, why does an Eldrin know so much about Fae? Huh?
Because Fae don't like bells, first of all. Everyone knows that. And secondly, I don't freaking know. But anyway, she's a researcher, all right? I know you wouldn't like her. And she just like, she has her hands on her temple and she's just like trying so hard to figure out what she could possibly say that's going to get through. And she's like, "All right, look. She's a researcher. I don't know why she's really into Fae. I don't really give a shite. But quite personally, she's here to solve us whatever the fuck's happening here." So she was in an adjacent tent. I told her to move into our tent because it's going to be a basis of operations. And we need to figure out what the fuck is going on if we're going to save anyone here. So, and she just motions like, "I don't know what you want from me."
And she's looking at you, totally kind of mirroring your like, yeah, she's like, I don't know either, and I'm frustrated about it. You're both 16 and angry, like standing there in the street. And she's like, fine, okay, but I think we should probably maybe just not like put all of our faith and trust in this Cassie is all I'm saying here.
Oh no, for sure. I just hope that she knows something for how we can kill it and what it is. But
Stuff that
I mean,
Ellen would probably know. Huh?
we're. I mean, probably, but Whistler's a fucking dumbass. I don't think he would know either. So if she knows something, at least we could exploit that, right? And we're only doing this for a couple of days until we figure out, and then maybe we go separate ways. Like, maybe we never have to see her again. Just don't share personal details like you would anyway, but we won't either.
Fine. Okay. All I'm saying is I'm not going to sleep where she's sleeping. Is all I'm saying. So that's fine.
I'm sure you could take her tent.
Fine. And she goes over and she kind of like kicks closed the lid of the harp and she's like, I guess I'll just put this back. Suspicious. Trusted.
Don't let her catch you. I'll stall. She yells as like Rook is stepping away with the case.
And so she picked up the case and she's like, okay, fine, I'll go put it back. But where's everyone else? Are we meeting in the tent later or what? And also you should probably tell them that this Cassie may or may not be extremely suspicious.
All right, I'll try to slip it to them if I can get them away from her. All right, I'll make it happen. We're meeting back in the tent so we can have a discussion thing.
Okay. I'll wait there. I'll go through the rest of her stuff just to make sure.
She shrugs. All right, sure.
Good. And she like disappears off into the shadows, like clutching the instrument case.
Real talk though, I definitely vibe with Rook because I'm a nosy bitch and I will go through your medicine cabinet.
Oh yeah, Rook is here. She's like, nope, you sleeping in our house? All right. Full scan, everything on your person, every dirty secret I can learn.
Whoop, 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 whoop.
This smells weird. Why? Why do you smell so weird? Why do you have 3 deodorants? Huh? What's that about? Like that kind of.
I like a value, okay?
Listen, I have a Costco membership. I don't know what to tell you. All right, sweet. So that happens.
After that exchange.
Yeah. And so after that, Aoife, you can keep moving along your course, and I think you probably run into Lou about this point.
As soon as she sees them within shouting distance in the little paddle boat, she's like, "Oh my God, Lou, Cassie, are you right?"
So Cassie isn't there.
Cassie's
It appears to be
there.
just Lou, like, leaning over.
Oh God, she's freaking out.
Oh, yeah.
Lou's just like, fuck, I was hoping nobody would see me like this.
With your hands
Like,
on one pedal and your feet on the other. Oh, yeah.
yeah. Oh my God. And she like finally like takes a minute but gets back to the stupid little dock and she scrambles out of the boat and she like puts her hands on her thighs and like bends over, puts her finger out like,
Yeah,
give me
like-
a second.
Amazing.
Before you say anything, Cassie's fine. I don't know about that date, but more importantly,
I don't know about our relationship, but
sorry.
she's alive.
Raina was just like stranded, like passed out on the sand when we, oh my God, when we got there, and she's alive, but she wouldn't wake up. So we took her back to the cottage and then got her warmed up, and Cassie's with her now. Oh my God, I gotta get in shape. And
Cardio is not my strong suit.
We gotta send like a doctor or something. So, but everyone's alive. I gave Cassie the earpiece.
And Aoife's just standing there with mouth agape, just shocked. And she takes a minute she kind of shakes her face a little bit to remember what the fuck she was going to say. And she says, "Oh my God, Tony's uncle, Laurie, he was attacked by whatever the creature was. It tried to drown him like in his bed. Water was coming out of the walls and coming through the door. It was positively nightmarish. But he's fine. He's fine. And Sten's staying outside his door, but this is huge. I mean, we need to get Cassie together because maybe she knows something."
I think that's a great idea. Fully with you. Let's not do the paddle boat again. I never want to see it ever again. We should probably get Sten or something to like get a doctor or what. I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with her. But like she clearly didn't mean to be there. She was in her like nighty gown. So you don't let anyone see you in your nighty gown.
So weird. Like, it's just like what happened to her sister out there on a night, not meaning to be there.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, I don't know. You're the magic one. This is just all magic-y, and we just need to find some order here for a second. Let's get that doctor. And Tony's uncle, he's all settled.
He's all settled. Tony's getting him some tea so he can be more at ease and be warded in his dreams, hopefully from whatever attacked him. And I said that we'd all meet back in the tent. So let's go there, rendezvous. We'll get Rook, get suited up for maybe trying to hunt this thing out, find a doctor. And I knew this would happen, but Rook is it's just insanely suspicious about Cassie.
Oh my God.
She thinks she's a Corellan, even though I specifically asked Cassie and she said she had never worked with the Corellans because that's like a whole different bag.
Well, that's totally ridiculous anyway, because my mom said that all the Corellans went back to Ashtar.
Right? So anyway, just Rook's being a little oversensitive and is going through all of Cassie's stuff in our room. That's a whole situation. But I mean,
of course, Rook would have beef with the one person who asked me out on a fucking date in 10 goddamn years.
People just kind of like nods in commiseration.
I think so. Also, probably Toni, you would probably show up, kind of around this. You see, them exchanging things here too. So, yeah. Oh, I think you're muted too. Yeah.
As Toni struts up to the tent, sees them, I don't know, gabbing about something. Yeah. I'll just interject with, Uncle Laurie's doing better. He's got his tea. Sten is there with him. So, what happened with you tonight, Lou? What happened on your little love boat excursion?
Yeah. And you can just share that story again. Yeah, you've gotten really good at telling it. So you can you can learn, so Toni, you can be caught up all to speed. I don't know, but Aoife, do you mention the Rook's behavior or
100%? Yeah, we'll just info dump on the both of them. Yeah. Make sure everyone's caught up.
I can't deal with both of these things at one time. And I'm trying not to be confrontational because I get stabby when I'm confrontational with Rook. So I'm just going to table that and we can continue to use Cassie as a resource. It doesn't seem like we're going to get any closer until this is figured out anyway, at which point we can have a conversation before anything else. Not that anything happens there. So let's get that doctor and have them send out a boat so they can get Cassie back. Let's go get in there, talk to Rook a little bit before Cassie shows up, because she's either not going to want to be in there, or we need to tell her to chill for like a minute till we get this contract done.
Yeah, I mean, it's no surprise. Obviously, we all thought Rook would do this, but it's okay, I think, if she wants to be a little skeptical. I think that's a little healthy. As long as she doesn't stop us from doing what we need to do, that's all that matters. I don't see that happening personally.
At the end of the day, we know no matter what happens, she's going to be out there with her crossbow shooting at things with us, because that is her joy. So
Zen in the art of crossbow maintenance.
yes.
Yeah. Brooke cannot like it as much as she wants, but for better or worse, this is our situation right now.
Yes. Okay, doctor, boat. I'll
Is
go.
there medical tent?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can, we can definitely, hand wave this too. Like you can run up and, talk to Sten. He can make sure that he goes and gets the family physician and it's all taken care of and it's discreet and stuff and blah, blah, blah. So you can leave that to him and he will make sure that both Cassie and Raina get brought back. Raina gets into bed and like in a good situation and she's taken care of. So, those events all happen very quickly over the next hour or so. So yeah, if you all want to meet up and talk with Rook before Cassie shows up, we can jump to that, or we can start when Cassie appears. So whatever scene you want to do next, we can jump into.
Probably talk to Rook to clear the air first. You guys agree? Goodness.
I really am not interested in clearing air with Rook anymore. I'm just like, Rook will do what Rook wants to do, and then we'll continue doing our job as well. So Toni will just be there for moral support. It's like, okay, I'm here.
Yeah, so you show back up and, Rook is, at this point, there's nothing out of place in the room. It looks like whatever investigation she has already done and has packed away, and she's sort of sitting on her cot looking like, trying to look like casual, which is just very, not great. She's sitting there like with her hands in her lap, and kind of when you all come in, she like stands up a little bit and then sort of sits back down and is like, "Oh, it's just you guys. Okay."
Hi, Rook. How have things been during this hectic day for you? Did you find out anything interesting, or you just been...
Yeah, a few things. Did Aoife talk to you?
Yep, Aoife talked to us, and I think that for now we got to get the job done. But I understand your concern.
Okay. Well, as long as everybody's on that page. I did actually also, I was kind of talking to people, like normal people today, not all of that. And she like waves a hand towards the thing. And yeah, and I guess actually there have been some weird things going on with more people than just the rich people. Shocker, right? Apparently there have been like several dudes that I talked to who've also had like bad dreams and woken up and been like weirdly tired and whatever. But of course, because they're like groomsmen and stable people and hunters and whatever, nobody's fucking talking about that. So I talked to at least 4 other, and they're all guys, and they're, and they all slept alone. One. So like none of them had a wife or whatever, or someone there with them. And this happened to them. So yeah, so that's what I was doing.
No one was with them physically, but
like when this happened, so nobody
any
could like
kind of. Yeah, but I mean, like, did you happen to go into their like romantic situation with any of them?
Yeah. Well, I asked them like if anybody
pursuing
saw
someone?
it or whatever, and they said no. So nobody was like sleeping with them. And I mean, they're all like, what do you mean? Like if they're married or whatever?
Like, I mean, are they dating someone? Are they like single? There's no one in the picture, or are they like they are with someone, they just weren't with them physically? I'm curious about the relationship status of these victims.
Oh, I mean, I guess. And she looks and she's like, trying to do like human calculations, like, oh, okay, Eldrin, normal. I guess they were all kind of young and honestly sort of like awkward dudes, I guess. So maybe like none of them were like married or anything, if that's what you mean.
Hmm. Okay. I mean, yeah, I mean, really just trying to look for similarities
Yeah.
or
So
differences.
so I guess this
Well,
has
at
been
least
happening
that
for a
means that
while.
it's not.
Tony
that-
is. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
At least that means that it's not specifically just your family. So that's good, I
Well, I mean, none of
guess.
them, were like magically drowning or whatever. So I think it's pretty safe to assume that there's something up with your family. And it does seem like Enzo is the only one who's been through this like multiple times. So these were all like kind of one-off things.
Right. There seems to be like an area of effect, even though it's targeted at one person.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't look nearly as shitty as your cousin. Sorry, but like they didn't. So
Hmm.
Tony, is your uncle married?
so he was married a long time ago, but his wife
He-
died when Enzo was like 10. So he's been a widower for a while.
It's interesting that this creature is going after unmarried men for sure.
Yeah. Lou takes out her notepad and starts writing that
Interesting.
down.
Curious, sir. Curious.
Anyone good at history checks?
Hold on. I might be. Know myself.
What's your question?
Uh,
We might be able to spin it.
two.
I'm just
I'm
thinking
okay.
if like any of us can recall or maybe have heard of similar attacks or like folklore about attacking single men.
Mm. Yeah, if you want to do history, like maybe like recent empire history or something of that nature.
Well, I'm not great at history is the thing.
I'm
I mean, I could just do
okay
it
at
anyway,
it.
but
I have
I'm gonna do
+2. Okay.
well, I got 15.
Okay. 15. There's certainly nothing like this in the history of like the shifting plains or in, your tribe or the tribes around you that you can recall. But I mean, all kinds of weird shit happens in Eldrin society. And, like any burgeoning society, there, of course, have been like serial murders and crime sprees, things of that nature. So maybe something like a sensational string of like unsolved murders might come to mind, but yeah, and there are certainly creatures in this world that prey on especially unmarried people, like virgins is a big thing, like, some monsters or like fae maybe even might be like really attracted to that kind of victim type. There are things like sirens that maybe prey specifically on like that kind of that attraction, or like you can like succubi or incubi are a type of like demon that preys on like attracting their victims and like stealing the life from them through like physical contact. So there's certainly a precedent for like supernatural stuff or more mundane things. Like it seems very clear that this is like a targeting profile thing. You feel very secure in seeing that that pattern is probably really important to what is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so now that we've cleared the air a bit with Rook, definitely get Cassie's mind in on this and relay what our sort of theories and what we've learned to her.
Yeah, and Rook will say, she's like, I'm fine. Like, I'm fine. I mean, I'm just going to be watching her, like, just in case. But if she wants to play ignorant, that's fine. get what we need. That's her
Fantastic.
stance.
Perfect.
She's not here to like
Wouldn't
throw a
expect.
wrench in the plan. She's just like warning everybody that she has this suspicion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
All right.
She's
Noted.
just like,
Exactly
it's
what
just
I
all too
thought.
convenient. And you know, I mean, Rook is a conspiracy theorist anyway.
Yeah.
So, you know,
God.
poor baby, poor little incel baby. So she, yeah. So you want Cassie to come and meet up with you all.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah. So you rendezvous, and you know Cassie basically helped see Raina go and get settled, and so you hear eventually. It's at this point where like you can see first rays of dawn kind of creeping up over the hills as you have had a very long night, action-packed night, and so in that pre-dawn, you hear the kind of weird knocking on the outside, and Cassie sticks her face in, under the flap, looking just haggard and tired. She walks in and says, "Okay, so good news. Raina is fine. She's sleeping now, but she did wake up. She seemed really confused about where she was and didn't seem to have any recollection of how she got there. But the doctor said she's fine. At a glance, anyway. He's doing more tests, but oh, hey! She kind of waves at Rook, who's sort of haunting a corner there. She's like, "Oh,
Nice.
you must be Rook." And Rook nods. "I'm Cassie. Nice to meet you." And Rook says, "Uh-huh." Kind of nods and like narrows her eyes. She's like, "I heard that you were an interesting person, and I'm looking forward to getting to know you more. I'll get it out of you." He kind of laughs, and Rook says, "We're just here to do a job, so if we could really focus on that, I would really prefer that." And Cassie's like, "Cool." And then looks at the rest of you and is like, "All right."
Glad you got back okay. Let's move forward in what we found out.
Yeah.
And then I think we all need to fucking sleep for a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. So I guess how do we want to do this? You all have been seeing stuff, and basically at this point there's so many things that it could be anything you have to give me, like anything you've observed or anything. If you could list it out like that, that's all good stuff that will help me circle in on what exactly this is. So out of game, kind of what we're doing here as this like mystery stage. I want you all to basically list so I have a list of like facts that are helpful and important about identifying this creature. So clues that you've learned so far. This could be things the monster has done, the circumstances, like anything you might have noticed. And if we get a certain number of these, Cassie will be able to successfully identify what this creature is, and you will be able to get more information. So that's kind of the mechanic we're working with here. So if you want to, I'll put your heads together for a second and bounce around and pull out what you think are the critical details about identifying this creature based on what you've learned. We'll do that, see if we can identify it. But I'm going to pee and refill my bevy, and then we'll do the list. Cool. So I'll be right back.
Okay, sounds good.
Neat.
All right. If we all want to go through it together, I will post my notes here.
Does one of us want to read it out loud so that everyone can hear, or
Yeah, I can do it. It's fine. Lou would have taken a list anyway in her stupid little notebook, so
I figured this
Alright,
was going to be
alright.
cut out from when Celeste ran out, so I was waiting till she got back.
yeah.
I mean, I guess true. Should I? All right, yeah, because we're gonna have to say it again anyway when she comes back.
Yeah.
But yeah, looks like
Just like Katie of like wanting to know like what things are. Like have like the monster with the name in my head. I'm like, I want to know. Go Cassie, figure it out.
Yep. All right, so
I
let's
mean,
see.
that's pretty much most of it.
Yeah. There anything else?
I mean, the weather
that-
phenomenon. Oh, you have that.
Yep.
The weird weather phenomenon. That and that I would add like what I had said previous to the stream, but would Aoife would say again in character, that the significance of it being exactly a year, because that's a very much a powerful time stamp or time frame that a lot of things are done in.
Okay, adding that in. Got it.
Yeah, the fact that it seems to be an area of effect, not necessarily just a bloodline or a lineage. Dealing with all of the single men in the area who have been affected is interesting too.
In the area.
All right. Cool. So we want to go ahead and Cassie kind of lays out a notebook and has several of her tomes sort of around her. She gets herself situated, readies like a quill. It's like, all right, what do we know?
Okay. Lou takes out her own little notebook and flips through back a couple
Cassie goes,
pages.
"Aw," like makes it cute, like when you pull out your own notebook.
Lou turns bright red and clears her throat. So, in general, there just seems to be like a very calm attitude about the wedding happening, even though there's some really dark circumstances just 1 year prior with his previous fiance and Raina's sister Mina dying by drowning, which is strange anyway, because she was somebody who was good at swimming, having grown up here.
Okay, so some kind of like you suspect like a charm effect maybe, or something manipulating the emotions of these people.
Could be. I mean, Enzo himself said that it doesn't feel like he should feel this happy.
Okay, like a sense of dread.
Considering they would normally be doing something to celebrate the memory just a year later, instead they seem to be erasing it with this wedding.
And nobody seems to be particularly alarmed about the strange mishaps that are happening.
Okay. Yeah, I wonder if that's the creature, or if that's just Eldrin society. Honestly,
Very well could be.
Okay. What else?
Okay. What happened when we were on the island? We'll go over like the whole situation that happened with Tony's uncle, that he had been drowning, like water coming out of his mouth, which is once again similar to how Mina died. And whatever entity was doing this scratched out "See me" on the wall.
See me. Okay. So so we think it's trying to be seen. It's trying to make somebody see it. Yeah. What?
Yeah,
Seems like a cry for help. Yeah.
But also, Aoife had a see invisibility and would have been able to see it if it had been in a different plane as well, and did not see it in Enzo's room or when she ran into Tony's uncle's room either. So
Okay,
it doesn't.
It can travel unseen, but it's not invisible.
That's what it seems like.
It seems it's extending its abilities beyond where it physically is and it's not doing it from the ethereal plane, so probably not a ghost or ghost-like thing, and isn't specifically invisible.
But the other weird thing too is that her uncle Lori said that he has a vague memory right before he woke up of seeing a woman with big glowing eyes and long black hair, like over him, like pressing on his chest,
And that looked particularly monstrous and not. It looked vaguely feminine. And Enzo had also mentioned that he had felt this sort of pressure on his chest,
And this is when they were sleeping.
having the nightmares.
Right? Okay. Sleeping, nightmares. Got it. Oh, actually, it's weird that you kind of say that about the rooms and stuff. Totally just thought of this. When we went to drop off Reina in her bedroom, the door was locked from the inside. They had to, like, go and get someone to open it.
how the hell did she get out there?
Right?
Was there anything strange about the room when they did enter?
No, I mean it looked totally normal, but yeah, the windows were locked and the door was locked from the inside. So yeah, so how did she get out?
Okay. So some sort of teleportation, I guess, in some way. Because I don't, if everything was locked, including the window, then
But moving Reina?
Hmm?
So the thing teleported Reina.
I mean,
I
we
have
can,
a feeling this thing is traveling through dreams. So it must have made her. I don't know if you guys took any time to interrogate her or while you were returning her, but we should definitely find out if she remembers anything. Because if it is traveling through dreams, it could have forced her up and out of bed, locked the door before closing it behind her. I mean,
With
that's,
the
that's
weird.
the-
Sorry, go ahead.
no, that was the end.
With the weird mist that they've been seeing, maybe it's turning people into mist so it can bring them out of the room. So that way she could get through the cracks of a closed window or a door, perhaps.
I mean, that does explain how it could travel, I guess, unseen. Well, she like, okay, and she kind of scratches something out and writes a note. Missed? Like with a question mark. Okay, what else?
yeah. So, also Enzo seems to be, there are other people on the premises around the area who have been experiencing these scary nightmares that they wake up from and feeling that same sense of like drainedness and that pressure on their chest. But Enzo is the only one who continuously has this happen to him again and again. All these men seem to be single men.
Until tonight, when Enzo wasn't attacked.
Correct. He's the only one who's had it happen to him several times when we were in the room with him. Then he went after Lori, or it went after Lori.
Okay.
And all of these men are single, unmarried men.
All right, that's interesting. So it has a type, I guess. Okay. Victim type.
Then just to get them out of the way, there's the two pieces that we walked into knowing, which is that people had been seeing the mist in the hallways at night. This always seems to happen specifically at night. And that there's weird weather phenomenon going on in the area.
Okay, so nocturnal. Okay. Strange weather. Gotcha. Okay. All right, anything else?
Also, it just once again might be an Eldrin thing, but everybody is really rushed to get this wedding done by Oxia, which is strangely enough, like I said, 1 year specifically away from when Mina died.
Okay, so there's maybe an important date or triggering event that has this creature upset.
I'm thinking that since it's been almost a year to the day when Mina died, that perhaps some deal was forged that the two families should be conjoined within, like a year and a day sort of situation. And maybe someone prevented that from happening when they killed Mina. And then, they're rushing to get these two kids wed because the deadline's coming up for them to meet this stipulation on the deal, perhaps. That's my thoughts.
It definitely seems like the marriage is probably some kind of triggering event for this thing.
Question out of game.
Yeah.
Do we know, is there like a timing coincidence between Oxia and that date that Hecate wanted the Enigma code by like a certain date, a certain moon, I remember? Is there any correlation between these dates?
The last full moon that happened, about 3 weeks ago or so, before that like action happened. That was the last full moon. Another one hasn't come up yet. You can, as players, sort of put together all the reports of the Corellans meeting in Ashtar seem to line up around that full moon. All of the sharp increase in Fae activity across the Empire seems to have started happening around that full moon. It's safe to say there was probably some correlation that happened there. But Oxia specifically doesn't fall on the night of a full moon or anything like that.
Gotcha.
Okay. Well, I think this must be at least some sort of use, given that we have done some deal with the Fae recently, and
Rook makes a kind of sound, like from behind you. And Cassie goes, "Sorry, what was that, Rook?" "Nothing. Just me being quiet over here. Just not oversharing over here. In my corner." And Cassie's like, "Okay. I'm sorry, what were you saying?"
I know a Fae. She's looking at Rook while she says this.
Rook's looking back at you.
I know there's a Fae who has their hands on a powerful book and wanted this book to do, we don't know what. We don't know why she wanted it, but she wanted it before the next full moon. And since she had this book, we know that the full moon's passing brought along an increase in Fae activity. We also know that all the Corellans seem to have returned to Ashtar since then or by then, and a lot of an increase in Fae strangeness since that time.
And Cassie, chews on the end of her quill. Okay, well, I mean, I think it's pretty undeniable to say that, things have gotten really dicey in the last month or so. Do you think that's relevant to this investigation?
Would be.
Okay. So she's like, full moon. And like writes a question mark. Okay.
I don't know if it, since Oxia isn't on a full moon, I don't think that the full moon is going to trigger anything, because it seems like Oxia is more important than that right now. But I think maybe the start of it could have been there.
I don't know if it's connected to Oxia. I just think something maybe got its power or got its energy from whatever took place on that full moon.
Well, I mean, certainly the Empire we are seeing more Fae sightings than we have in decades, I guess. I mean, the Corellans are very strict when it comes to finding Fae, hunting them down, removing any artifacts that might be threatening or anything. It is very concerning that there is a Fae one here, I guess, and then also so close to the capital, and with all of these people, it really doesn't feel great if this is a Fae and something of substantial power enough to change weather and like going after Eldrin high society. That is definitely not good. So, yeah.
Well, all we can do is try to protect what little people we can in this particular case. And
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. Sorry, yeah. Anything else?
I mean, obviously you were there. The Reina was completely soaked through, so I don't know if she was like sleep swimming, which is fucking crazy.
Yeah,
Or
I don't know why she would have been. Yeah.
we definitely need to talk to her more and also inspect her room to see if there's any secret passage or anything that she could have gotten out through, but that's for tomorrow. And then in general, I think we've covered it, but that Enzo's symptoms are that he's having those bad dreams. He has the pressure on his chest, and he seems to be almost being drained during these, but that's about it.
Okay. All right. Well, I've got some good stuff here, so I guess next steps. I don't think we have much time to waste, so I'm gonna just hit the books and see what I can come up with. So I don't know. Give me a couple hours, maybe get some sleep, and I'll keep at this. And you will do what you need to do.
Okay.
Long rest.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And Cassie already, you can tell her attention is like drifted away from you, and she's already starting to pick up various things, and so she's kind of like half answering you at this point as she's like hunched over, sitting on the floor in like terrible posture, spreading out papers all around her, starting to get that going. And Rook's like, I'll stay up and just keep watch, just in case. How about that, huh?
Sure, Rook.
And Cassie's like, yeah, sure, Rook. She's looking at flipping through a book.
Sounds good. Well, I guess bedtime. And Lou kind of like grabs her stuff and is like, I'm going to go change in the bathroom area. It like scrambles out the tent.
There's like a sound that comes from Cassie of acknowledgement, like a half-hearted wave. She's reading something. So, do we all want to take a long rest? And so you all will kind of sleep through the early morning, and then you can be active, 10, 11 a.m. to get a long rest.
Yeah, after my 4 hours of elfness, Lou will get up and just like quietly leave and like come back with like coffee and food and just like set it down for everybody and just like slowly insert the coffee into Cassie's like eye frame.
Oh yeah, and she reaches out. She's like, I think, mumble something incoherent. And she like highlights something. All right. So you all take a long rest. And I think it has been a very long night, and despite the horrific things you've seen and experienced, it's probably pretty easy to get to sleep after everything that has been happening, or those of you meditating, it's just a grateful moment for a moment of peace. It's been go, go, go since you got here, and it's a nice break that you finally get to have. And as you said, Lou, after you're done with your 4 hours, you go out and you get some coffee and you kind of put it in front of Cassie, who has been up this entire time, hasn't really moved from her crouched position, other than to like, she lays on her stomach sometimes or twists to the other side, right? Or goes and gets a book. It's a very quiet affair. Um, and everybody else is sleeping other than Rook, who's just been sitting cross-armed in her cot, just kind of watching Cassie this entire time. Um, so Rook nods as you kind of come back into the tent and gives you like a "don't worry, we're still good" look.
Lou just rolls her eyes, but hands Rook a cup of coffee too.
Rook takes a slurp and gets back to watching Cassie on the floor. And when you do kind of slide the coffee in front of Cassie, and she says, "Oh," and grabs it, and then kind of seems to remember where she is and looks up at you, and she's like, "Can I ask you something about this whole thing?"
Sure. Go for it.
So, just out of game for a second, Toni, you have not mentioned that you are related to the Silvertails at this point, right? Or have you in front of Cassie?
No, but when we were talking earlier, I did hear Lou slip out that Lori was my uncle to Cassie.
Oops.
Right. Yeah, so Cassie will be like, and she lowers her voice a little bit, because everybody's sleeping in the same space, and she says, I don't really know what's going on with, Toni and everyone, but how much does Toni, is she close to Enzo or this uncle? Do you know?
I think that like as she says that, Lou kind of gets an "oh shit" face if she realized that she had said Tony's uncle, and then she just like clears her throat and she's like, she knows.
Sorry,
no,
it's my
I
job. I notice things. Sorry.
You're fine. I mean, we were trying to keep it on the down low, but I was reading off my paper.
Important.
Anyway, yeah, I mean, it doesn't, from what I can tell, it doesn't seem like, I mean, Toni loves her family, but doesn't have like a super in-depth relationship with her uncle and her cousin.
Okay. Because I have my suspicions about what might be happening, and I don't think it bodes very well for them. So there might be some hard questions incoming.
Like, he's definitely gonna die, or he's a bad person, or what are we looking at here?
Well, I mean, the creature that I'm more and more I'm checking and I'm double checking, but this thing, I think it's here for a very specific reason, and that reason, I don't think it's good. And I know this girl, there's a death, and there were some mysterious circumstances, and it seems pretty clear to me that this thing wants revenge or to punish someone.
I mean, you've been up all night. I can only assume that if you're really bringing this to the table, that
More and more, it looks like that's the case. Yeah.
Gotcha. I mean, this is something that we'd need to talk to Toni about. I don't really feel comfortable having this conversation on her behalf.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
her.
Of course. I just wanted to, kind of know. I don't know. It just sucks, when the facts don't go the way you want them to.
Yeah. Well, that's life. And ultimately, even if it's not what we want, we can still try to take what's left and make the best of it. So when everyone else finishes sleeping, I guess we can have this conversation.
Yeah, of course. And I'll keep checking and yeah.
Can I get you anything else other than coffee? There's still gonna be a little bit here, so
Yeah, if I could get um like a bagel or something, that'd be great. Still definitely feeling a little bit of that mead that we had earlier. It's long, just
let me get you something incredibly greasy. I'll be back.
And she's sitting on the floor, so she kind of like taps, pats your calf and sort of smiles up at you, like so tired, but in the way that makes her eyes scrunch. She does so. She's like, thanks.
Clue just clears her throat again in the oh no, she's really cute, and I was like,
She's so cute and sleepy. Yeah.
Yeah, right, I'll be right back.
Yeah.
And just skedaddles out to make the greasiest like egg breakfast sandwich.
Hell yes.
To hit all the hangover help.
She will love you forever. All right. Cool. Do we want to go ahead and fast forward to kind of the end of the long rest and sort of lay it all out?
Yeah.
All right.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, indeed.
So you come back, Cassie eats her sandwich, blah, 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 you all wake up, go through your morning stuff, and you can hear at this point too, and Lou, you would have seen it, like, because tomorrow morning now, so less than 24 hours, will be the festival. Like, the gates will be open, people will be arriving, so this is the day that pretty much everyone is showing up, and like final setup is being done, so it is packed. The gardens everywhere around the house is just crawling with people, setting up food carts and games and the entertainment. There are rehearsals going on for all the various events that are going to be taking place. You see coordinators around the house like setting up like the wedding area. There are, the chairs and like the stage and all being constructed, and it's chaos. Luckily, there seems to be some kind of enchantment on your tent that keeps the sound out. But the minute you step outside, it's people yelling like 6 a.m. sharp. People are just all over the place. So many loud noises, construction sounds. It's complete chaos. So in the middle of all this, you all come together, get ready, back in the tent, surrounded by people, and Cassie has some notes in front of her and kind of circles you all up, and she says, okay, so I put together everything and checked and double checked, and she casts sort of a weird glance at you, Toni, that you'd probably just casually clock, and I'm pretty sure that this is what we're dealing with. And she opens up one of these books and like lays something down on the table in front of you all. And you can see it's like a sketch style kind of field notes journal, it seems like. And you see this illustration of this very tall and kind of emaciated female figure with like drawn skin, looks almost like undead, and this long stringy hair and these like small wings, black feather wings sprouting out of her back, and you see these like huge eyes set into her face. And you see that the entry here is titled Mare, M-A-R-E. She says, so this creature, based on what we know so far, I think it's a mare, which is interesting. Usually they show up in more like rural communities. In particular, mares for some reason are well, the thing is, they're women who basically or the mare kind of possesses they're born from the spirit of unmarried women who die usually in some kind of tragic or fulfilled way, and when that happens, that spirit is kind of transforms into this thing that possesses a living unmarried woman to carry out usually some kind of revenge or get satisfaction for the cause of their death. And I mean, all the signs are there. So essentially, their MO, they come and they ride. She does like quote hands. Victims, usually again unmarried men, and plagues them, torments them, feeding off of their life energy as part of that vengeance. So I think that's probably what we're dealing with here with the, the dead girl and Mina. And so that's what I got.
Wait, what type of creature did she say?
It's a fae. So it's sort of a weird amalgamation between, because when somebody passes in a way that is violent or unfulfilled or in some way, I mean, a very angry spirit turns into this fae. And then one step further, the fae specifically has to possess a living person. And usually they take over at night, transforming whoever they're hidden inside of to enact this vengeance. And of course, they can turn into mist, so they can travel around. So obviously, to deal with this thing, we're going to have to find some way to, get it there. So get it to show up, prevent it from leaving, and then the only way to drive a mare out of a living host is to basically force it to change in the sight of others. And then, even still, to make it more complicated, after the mare has been separated, the only way to get it to go is to lay it to rest. So to give it whatever promise it was seeking, whatever vengeance it was here to fulfill.
We have to let it get what it wants.
Yeah. And there are some cases, of course, obviously, it wants direct revenge, and some of these women, though, who turn into these things, it's a simple matter of just exposing what happened to them, or even, in some cases, proposing marriage to the creature, or fulfilling a promise that wasn't kept.
And do you suspect that it's attached itself to Enzo or to Reina?
If Rena was out in the water and there was no way out, I got to assume that
it only possessing her unmarried women. So I think poor Reina has become the host for this thing. But who it wants vengeance on and why, clearly this marriage set it off, and if it was Mina, I think it's safe to assume that it's probably has something to do with your family, Toni. She says kind of sheepishly and sort of restacks her notes in a way, making herself just busy and kind of avoiding your gaze.
So Mina's revenge is taking it out on my cousin.
I don't know. I can't tell you what exactly the particular reason this thing has been conjured, but clearly there was some great infraction or pain that has caused maybe Mina, and we don't even know it's Mina's, but a spirit to seek vengeance. And the fact that a wedding is occurring and that's when it started seems to be that is some probably logical to assume. And she looks at you, Lou, like, I don't know what to say here.
I think that we need to speak to people again now that we have what this creature likely is and reframe some questions, kind of see what people's relationship was. And we need to be open to potentially some people who we thought in a certain light of could be not what we think. They could be, but either way, whatever we find out, it seems like your cousin's probably going to be not in the best of ways if we don't figure this out soon.
Yeah, the end of these stories are usually not great if the mayor is just allowed to continue. So yeah, I would say time is of the essence. And if the marriage is happening tomorrow, it yes, seems like this creature is getting angrier and angrier based on what we saw last night. Yeah.
Lou's just looking at Toni.
Yeah. Tony's very much trying to keep it together after hearing what Lou just inferred or implied. So she's going to walk out of the tent and go see her dad.
Lou just lets her have her space.
And in a totally I don't know, weird move, as Toni walks out and, you know, you, Lou, are like kind of, and I think, imagine, you know, Aoife and Cassie are kind of like, at the same time. Rook stands up and just bolts out after Toni. And so, Toni, you're walking like down the way. And Rook, you know, there's a hand on your shoulder and Rook's like, hey, sorry, are you okay? I mean, you're clearly not okay, but like, is there anything I can do? You know, I'm sure things are never as easy as people say, especially people with paper and notes and the thing with the Fae. It's never that simple. So your family seems like good people and you're good people, and I don't think you should listen to that shit.
Oh, this is Rook talking to me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought this was Cassie talking to
No.
Lou.
No.
I was like, how does she know her family?
No, this is Rook running after you and kind of catches you in the walkway.
Yeah, she's a little bit surprised that Rook is offering any kind of comfort. Is like, oh, yeah, I mean, well, thank you. I agree. I think this is bullshit, and I can't imagine my. Anyway, neither of them would do something so horrible.
I know. If they're anything like you, I know.
Yeah, I just need to talk to my dad. I mean, come with me if you want, but know that I'm telling him everything.
Yeah. No, I mean, I got your back. So no matter what they say or what they think, I believe you.
She gives a very tight arm squeeze to Rook.
Yeah, she does back. She's like, all right, cool. I don't really know what to do next, so I guess I'll just hang out. I get like outside. I don't want to, do your yeah.
That's fine.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah. She sort of gangly leans, 17-year-old gangly outside of your tent, seeming to watch the door. She's like, I'll watch. Yeah, gives eyes. Cool. And leaves you to do your own thing. So yeah, you continue down the way, and you get towards that tent where your dad and Gio are staying. And the door is already open. You can smell like bacon coming from inside immediately. Your dad has always been an early morning riser, and you can definitely tell he's already cooking and stuff. You can hear the clattering of pots and pans and all kinds of stuff going in. So yeah, you can step inside. You see your dad in a very way too small for him apron, flipping over some some food on a camp stove that they apparently brought with them. They're ignoring the one that just built into the glamping tent. And Gio kind of turns around from cleaning dishes, like, Toni, hey, sorry, Toni, what's up?
Oh. Little brother that immediately melts her little icy edge that she came in with, and it's like, hey Gio, it's okay, you can be silly and weird. I'm not just
trying
your
to be
tough
silly.
soldier sister.
Why does everybody think I'm trying to be silly and weird? I'm just like, are you hungry?
Anyway, it's good to see you. Did we sleep well? Is everyone waking up okay today?
And your dad turns around and he's putting pancakes on a plate for you and putting it, shoving it towards you. He's like, yeah, surprisingly well. The noise out here, there's just not enough of it, so that was a little strange. But yeah, slept good here. How are you? How is everything going?
Well, I'm not gonna lie, I have some tough news. We had our first watch last night on the newlyweds, or the
Is Enzo okay?
Enzo's okay as far as I know, but Uncle Laurie had some trouble last night.
And you see your dad's like he got punched, and he's like, nobody told us. Is he fine? I have to go see him. And he goes and he's like, rips off
Hold on, Dad. Hold on. You'll see him. I'll take you. He's okay. He, thanks to my friend Aoife, she saved him in time, but there was an attack on his life. Something was trying to drown him. There was, I don't know what it, well, we have a theory now, but at the time, it seemed like some magical interference was attempting to drown him as he was asleep in his room. Water coming from the floors, from the walls. But Aoife put a stop to it, and he's awake and he's okay. He told us everything he could remember from his dreams. She reiterates it all, like the woman, the feeling, the heaviness on his chest, all of that. And,
what do we do?
Well, that's what I want to know. If I don't know what you might recommend. I know it's not really your realm. It's more of Mom was really into that spiritual stuff and knew more about that kind of thing. But between her and your experience with the Fae, the consultant we're working with thinks it's a mare, and goes on to reiterate what that is and the fact that it's affecting single unmarried men and all that. Like, do you know? Have you heard of this thing before?
I have old stories, but that I mean that's sort of why it's called a mare, right? I think they even originated in the shifting plains. It's not only do they often do that to humanoids, but sometimes even to horses as well, waking up in the middle of the night exhausted and nearly to death, like sweating. Why would something like that attack Laurie? I'm sorry, I don't know enough about it. I've just heard stories, but I mean it seemed like a ghost story, honestly. One of those cautionary tales to respect women, and not turn back on your promises, not like a actual. What do you think? What did this consultant say? Did she say why? Did they say why?
Well, the conclusion right now is that this thing is possessing Reina and seeking revenge for the most part on Enzo.
Then why did it attack your uncle?
That I'm not sure of. Maybe because he's been kind of skeptical of this whole wedding from the beginning, and everyone else seems to be so gung-ho about it.
I mean, he
Maybe.
wasn't skeptical. I think it's perfectly normal for a father to feel that way, and it was surprising, especially also after Mina died. Of course, it seems like your uncle didn't even. I didn't even know he was still in contact with the family. I don't think he was. I think he even severed ties. And Enzo introduced this again. Lori was so surprised by this whole thing. I mean, he was devastated after what happened last time. I don't understand any of this.
Well, that's maybe part of it, is that he's kind of the only one who is still trying to figure out why this wedding is happening in the first place. I mean, I agree with you, as he should. He's Enzo's dad. I mean, he can't help but be concerned about what his son is feeling and going through right now on the anniversary of his former fiance's death. But I think the fact that this creature wrote "See me" on his walls, and
On Lori's walls.
yes, and Lori being the one to have some sort of rationale in this whole situation, urging them to slow down and think about it.
Your dad, he puts his like giant, head down on his giant hand and like kind of leans down on the counter for a second. And Gio's been making himself very like distantly further and further away from this conversation, like sensing the tension here. I your dad seems to be very struggling with something at this moment. Is there anything you do to encourage him, or just kind of let him work himself out?
I think she's just reiterating that, like, I trust your judgment. I know that there's no harm that Enzo or Lori would have caused to that family if he really loved them and wanted them to be a part of his life. So, I mean, I'm trying to protect our family as best as I can, but I'm most worried that this is going to lead towards some kind of false accusation on Enzo.
And he has a deep, heavy, heavy sigh that rattles his whole chest as he says, Lori was very close to the family before Mina died. Honestly, I didn't know much about her. But I know he cared for the family a great deal. And even Enzo barely knew Mina or the Alyanas before the marriage was announced. I would talk to Lori. He knew much more about the family, and he might be able to shed some light on what happened. Not that I think he would ever do anything, because of course he wouldn't. But he was devastated when she died.
I mean, I know Enzo wasn't very close to Mina being arranged and everything, but could you say the same thing about him?
he was here a lot. He stayed with them on several occasions. If Lori definitely would have known her more than Enzo ever did. I think Enzo and she met maybe once.
But do you think he'd be capable of doing something?
Of
like
course
that?
not. He's my brother. He wouldn't hurt anyone. I mean, look at
No,
him.
no, not
He's
Lori. Enzo. I mean, I just haven't been
Enzo.
around as much. I haven't been around the both of them since I was a kid, so
I feel like he's just a
I don't want to believe he is capable of that, but
no. He's just a kid. No, neither of them. No.
I know.
But he does. He raises his hand and like puts it on your shoulder, and he says, "I trust your judgment, and I know you're doing the best you can. And if there's anything you need from me, I want this to stop, even if that means asking hard questions."
Do you want to come with me when I talk to I mean, you want to check on him, so do you want to go with me now? Should we go talk to Lori?
If you think that's helpful, then yes, of course. I'm here for you.
Okay. Let's go. I'll take you.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we pop out, I'll update Rook, let her know that we're going to go talk to Lori if she wants to go tell the others that they can meet us, or if she wants to come, she can come.
Yeah, Rook's kind of the same. She's like, yeah, I mean, wherever you need me. And then I don't know what's been happening back in the tent, but Cassie will kind of break down a few other things, I guess, for you all while the conversation is happening before she's like, yo, really need to go to bed. I've been awake for so long. So essentially, just in summary, the way you're going to have to deal with this creature, one, you're going to have to set up some kind of trap or something to get it in a place where you know it'll be. Two, you have to find some way to secure whatever this place is to make sure it just can't leave because it can turn into mist and just run the fuck away. So one, lure it. Two, trap it in a place. Three, you're going to have to weaken it down to the point where it's forced to like change back and separate from Reyna. So that probably means fighting it. And then four, once it's out of Reyna, you're going to have to find a way to resolve whatever is keeping it here. Give it some kind of peace or sense of satisfaction so it will actually go. Otherwise, it'll just come back for Reyna again. So those are the 4 steps that Cassie outlines. And in terms of like binding it and stuff, Cassie can mention there have been some tales of like herbs and stuff, like, you know, bundles of specific things that maybe you can wear like as a defensive charm to keep the mare away from you. So the logic might dictate maybe if you can surround a room or cordon it off with those same herbs, it might keep it in. That same kind of logic. But otherwise, yep, that's what she has to share, and then she is gonna pass out unless you all need anything else of her for a few hours. Okay.
She's done enough.
I'm very tired. I've been awake for just so long. Okay, so she goes to bed. Yeah, so it's up to you now. Yeah, party, what do you want to do next? You have a lot of NPCs at your back, so you can, you have Rook at your command. Your dad, Luca, is at your beck and call. Geo will do anything for you. Like, so it's up to you all what you want to decide next steps are.
I think finding a room that we can do the herb thing to surround it with. And then I can go to like kitchen staff and find like the herbs and stuff that we need, or go through the gardens too and get that all set up for that part. I feel like as far as like the questioning, like it's become like very much like a family matter. because it's just uncomfortable.
So with the event planners and coordinators with the schedule that Lou snagged and the Rocky Talkie that she also snagged, we can know where the bride is going to be at certain times of day, so we can pick an opportunity where she is in the smallest group of people during the day. Like, I don't know, maybe there's some kind of like little bridal shower or luncheon or whatever that's happening. And then we could pick that point to maybe have her come in early or stay late after that when we can get her alone and she has a reason to be there so people don't suspect. And then, yeah, with Toni's herbalism to maybe magically seal the room or something to keep that, like, protection from Fae situation happening in that room.
Yeah. So the number one goal is, like, this creature can turn into mist that can go through any crack in ever. So you're going to have to seal any, like, doors or windows or whatever with magical protection. Yeah. Oh, sorry, Katie. I think you muted.
Like you were saying, Sage, since she has like events and stuff that she needs to go to, she's probably got like changing rooms because she's that rich lady. So if we can use that to find like an outfit change moment and keep her in there.
So I think you all have totally secured yourself with all the schedules and stuff you stole. Like, it won't be hard getting Raina alone somewhere you need. You might need some way to draw the mare out because Raina will transform into the mare. Usually it only happens at night, or perhaps if it's lured to come out. So you'll need some way to kind of bait that. So getting Raina by herself, fine. I think you all, with your magical like knowledge and herbs, can seal the room. But so far the trouble is going to be making sure it comes out. And then you're going to have to weaken it. So that means potentially fighting this thing once it is out and angry about it. And then the thing you really need to know is why, what does it want? So you need to know how to address it. So you're not sure of the why yet.
Yeah. Hopefully Toni can find that when she goes to speak to them. I guess we could talk to Raina too while she's not in that form and see if we can find out anything from her as to what's going on, because we haven't spoken to her yet.
And I think Aoife in particular would want to interview the house staff, track down the house staff who were there a year ago, who would have been like a lady's maid for Mina or something, to be like, okay, we need like, because out of character, what I've got from Toni's conversation with her dad is that I don't think anything of malice necessarily happened, because much like we saw with Penny, who had an incomplete or like incorrect knowledge of the situation, which led her to be this haunting figure who is bent on this singular thing that would solve her problems. I think the same thing or a similar thing is happening with Mina and her spirit, that because this promise was broken, not necessarily out of malice, but because it was broken, is what's causing this. There's the initial like cause for the haunting, the summoning of the conjuring of this creature. So, I don't think, yeah.
Is there anyone we can that you can think of, guys, that we can send like a letter to or anything like that? Any other outside resources about it? Because I really don't know how to coax her out,
I mean, not that Tandy's the, source of knowledge, but we don't have very many correspondence outside of, our families.
Yeah, so I think the answer to the situation we're gonna find here, that someone knows something, and we just need to interview some people to see what we can find, and then that'll give us our why and our how to coax. Interviewing this.
Where's Harvey Dent? All right. What is step one? What are we doing right now? A few different people on the list to interview.
I'm really curious to see the conversation with Toni's family. first, I think.
Okay. So Toni, who specifically are you going to talk to, and who's coming with you?
I'm gonna take my dad to go see Lori, and I want Enzo to be there as well.
Okay.
So yeah, the four of us.
All right. Yeah, you can. So you can make that happen. You grab them. You refer to the schedule and grab them in between, like when all of the ladies of the party are getting fitted or whatever, and the dudes are kind of sitting around. You can like kind of swoop them up and you know. Oh, sorry, Sage, are you muted?
Sage.
I hit the button, but not well enough. As before Toni heads off, Aoife will send her off with a bardic inspiration to use for the next 10 minutes for any ability checks or whatever that you might have to make.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, so you go along, and your dad is like, is it okay if Gio doesn't come? He's great kid, smart as a whip. Not quite there in terms of emotional maturity yet. I would almost rather not have him see this just in case.
No, that's fine. I mean, I wanted him to be aware of the situation, and that's enough.
Can I also offer perhaps a little bit of advice as a father as well?
Mm-hmm.
I know that if I had done something, I may not want to admit it in front of my children first. I might want to break that to them on their own. So if we do talk to Lori, I might recommend not having Enzo there to start.
Okay, that's fair.
Fathers have to be so much for their children. They should be so much. And if he kind of looks at you and with a pained expression and sort of, yeah, just taps you on the shoulder again, gives you one of those, like, shakes you a little bit back and forth.
Don't worry, Dad. I've always thought you're amazing. You don't have to do anything else for me. You've done enough.
No, there's never enough when you're a parent. You'll see one day. It's hard. It's hard when you love something so much. And he punches. He's like, okay, I'll stop, and does a little, side hug as you're walking up towards the house.
She like fun slaps him away. She's like, come on. I mean, everyone already knows we're related, but we don't have to broadcast it.
Yeah. Oh. It's hard. It's hard when your heart is walking around outside of your body. That's what it feels like, Fatonia. Having children. Don't do it lightly.
Trust me, I'm not going to.
God, Dad! All right. So you head on up to the house. So Sage, what is Aoife gonna be doing? Are you heading off somewhere else? I'm assuming it sounded like y'all didn't necessarily want to be part of the interview. Right.
Yeah, I definitely think that if anyone's going to get the truth out of Lori about the nature of his relationship with Mina, it's not going to be in front of strangers. So with that, Aoife is going to take the time to track down any staff who would have been really close with Raina and Mina a year ago and see what they knew, surmised about. To get an idea.
Secret gossiped about. Yeah, for sure.
Covered up, perhaps, for sure.
Yeah. All right, and Lou, are you heading off with Aoife as well?
Yeah, I'll hang around because I'm not good at talking to people by myself anyway. So
all right, okay.
I'll follow the bard.
Yeah, so you split off, and yeah, so you, Toni, and your dad eventually find Lori. He's sort of sequestered away still in like a sunroom or something. Seems to be taking some time to himself as you come in, and Your dad immediately like steps in and crosses over and he's like, I heard what happened. Are you all right? And it goes and just like holds his brother in a tight hug. And Lori is clearly trying just to be stone faced and not emotional about it. But he kind of nods and they also clap arms and sort of step away from each other. And your dad says, well, Toni is helping get to the bottom of all of this, so we wanted to talk to you, Lori, and to ask you maybe some hard questions. And Lori nods solemnly.
Yeah, and Toni will jump in with the information that Cassie has put together, her suspicions. We think that it's going to be a bit of a battle taking care of this creature. We will have to bait it somehow. We will have to draw it out somehow so that Reyna isn't in danger. But we still need to know more about what it wants. And seems most likely that it's connected to Mina's spirit and something that she feels she was promised and didn't receive before her death. I mean, it's very possible that that's as easy as the marriage between her and Enzo, but I feel like it's not that simple. And hopefully you can shed some light.
Yeah, your uncle has been like stone-faced. Just listening to you, his eyes growing kind of. He looks very far away as you're explaining this. And he waits for you to finish and says, Enzo had nothing to do with this. You know that, right? He. Oh God, are you sure? Are you sure it's Mina?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
And he leans back in his chair and you can see tears starting to come to his eyes, and your dad is like looking at him like, what the fuck is going on at the table? It's like your uncle is showing more emotion than he's ever shown to you. Mina and I were very close. I never meant. She was so young, and I never meant to. And she was supposed to marry my son, and it was all such a mess. I don't know. I don't know what the spirit wants or what it is, but if it is Mina, then it's my fault. I'm sorry. I don't know what. Ask your questions. The whole thing, I've been trying to forget it, but clearly it's time for it to come out.
So you're telling us that you did have an affair with your son's betrothed?
I did. And I tried to end it. In fact, that's what I came out that night to do. We were supposed to meet. And we were going to end things. But when I got there, she was already dead. She must have fallen, and I saw her. And I didn't say anything. How could I? She was already dead. Who was I going to hurt? I'm sorry. And he, like, bites. You can see he's, like, biting at his hand, trying to, like, keep back tears, pain, whatever it is.
Did she know you were trying to end it?
She did. We had written back and forth. She knew that's why we were meeting. But she was out there because of me. And I just left her there. In the water. I didn't mean for any of it to happen. I didn't know her when I arranged the marriage. It was just, they were family friends, but I got to know her, and it's been so long since... I suppose I have nothing else to say. In my defense, if this spirit is here, that must be why. I'm sorry.
You left her there, meaning that... Did you help them recover the body? Were you the one who told them that she had been out there?
No. I rode away. No one knew I was there. No one knew what we were. He was my son, and she was his... I couldn't... I thought it would be best. It would be easiest. I wouldn't have to hurt anyone if they didn't know. I didn't think anyone would get hurt. So I saw her there when I saw her body. I turned my horse around and I went right back. I left the property and no one ever knew.
Tony's having a really hard time looking at him.
Yeah, and he's looking down at his lap. He's clearly deeply ashamed by the whole thing. And your dad, too, is having trouble looking at him.
So when all this strangeness started happening, you didn't think once, now would be a good time. Before my son ties himself to this family forever.
It's been so long. How could I have known? I didn't even know Enzo was talking to them. I severed all ties. I wanted to be as far away from all of this as possible, and I had no idea. And when I got the letter that he and Reina had met, and it just all came crashing down. What was I supposed to do? How could I have known this would happen? I couldn't know. I'm sorry. Of course I'm sorry. What do you want me to say?
I want you to tell me how you're going to fix it now.
I don't know how. How can you... It's not like I can tell her. I'm sorry. What am I supposed to do? You want me to tell him? You want me to tell my son what I did? How will that help anything?
This way, everyone will know what they're fighting and why this is happening. Doesn't matter if you knew this was going to happen or not. They're the consequences of your actions. So we are going to have to draw this creature out. And yes, I want you to apologize to it. I want you to have that conversation you didn't have with Mina.
All right. Whatever it takes, but if this comes out, you have to understand, I don't think the family's gonna let Enzo and Reina get married. So I will take whatever punishment you think is fit. But please, factor the heart of my son into this decision. Whatever you tell them, whoever you tell them, it's clearly not in my hands anymore. But please don't punish him for what I did.
Well, I would have thought that you might see why it's the right thing to do. Given as you weren't considering your son's feelings before.
And that he closes his eyes and that goes right. Yep, the knife that he knew was in his heart as a twist. I will do whatever you think I need to set this right.
I'll call on you when we're ready to get things started.
I'm sorry.
So am I.
He looks up at your dad and he's like, Luca, I'm sorry. And your dad just stands up and says, we have to go. And starts walking out of the room.
I just hold on to my dad as we walk out of that house.
So with that in mind, do you all want to rendezvous again and share that? Or do you feel like you got the juicy deets you might have gotten from talking to others?
I mean, I'm ready to rendezvous with them, but yeah, you guys wanted to go and talk to people.
I don't really know what else I would have to ask after that.
Yeah, I feel like you pretty much got the scoop
Yeah.
from that.
Yeah.
So
circle back up, talk about
do
what
we
the heck
wanna-
to do. Yeah.
do we want to say that we went and we got herbs to get ready for sealing off the place then?
Yeah. Toni could have given you a shopping list.
A list, yeah, for sure. We could have gone.
You have to chase people down in the culinary tent and wherever and get your rhythm. Go pick some stuff from the garden.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sounds good to me then. So we've got that ready for
Fabulous.
later.
OJ.
So we rendezvous.
Yeah. I'm gonna refill my wine while you all circle up. Just
Yeah, you gotta
replenish my
refill those
tears. My NPC tears. Thank you. That's how I run.
Ooh-wee.
Are we continuing the scene? Are we going on?
I guess not. We can wait.
Well, I mean, it's just between us, really.
Yeah, true.
I'll say we have rendezvoused.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Beep, beep, beep.
Toni enters the tent, clearly looking like there's something on her shoulders, on her mind, a little bit angry also. And I assume Rook is there. I don't know about Cassie. We'll think about that later.
Maybe asleep.
Yeah.
Maybe asleep.
Out
obviously.
cold, dead to the world.
Yeah. And standing up, she'll say that her and my dad and I just went to go see my uncle. And after telling him everything about the mare and what we know of that creature and what it wants, he confessed to having a affair with Mina before their wedding that my cousin never knew about, still doesn't know about. And the night that she died was the night that they had arranged to meet and end things. And she knew that that was going to be the conversation. But when my uncle got there, she was already dead. And he left her there. He left that young woman in the water. According to him, he didn't want to hurt anyone. But that sure didn't fucking stop that from happening, did it? So, I told him we are going to seal it, separate it from Reyna, and he's going to give her the apology she never got.
It sounds like Mina never got the closure that she needed. And perhaps if she can say her last words, if she could hear Lori say that he's sorry for leaving her in the water to be heard. I mean, she scratched for the creature, scratched to see me in the wall. So, clearly she
fucking did see her.
Sounds like we need closure.
Yeah. That's rough. Sorry, Toni.
But at least we know there's no malice in it. Nothing violent happened. It really was an accident. A bit salacious, but no one's a murderer.
No, I'm just a coward. Did you guys get the stuff? You get the herbs?
Yep. Yeah, we got them all, and we figured out time at night before one of the events that Reyna would be alone, that we could get her into the changing room, and we can go in advance and get everything ready. Do we know what we want to use to get her to come out of Reyna?
I mean, it might be as simple as having Lori in the room.
Trying to have a conversation with her. Saying maybe he's ready to talk, ready to hear her, ready to see her. I think that'll help, at least, if not draw it out completely.
It's going to be an interesting conversation while Reyna's still in control. Not really sure how to prepare her for that. And then in the end, she'll probably have an inkling.
Ooh, here's an idea to bait her out.
Go on.
Using our letter writing mechanic, if Lori and Mina had correspondence with each other and agreed to meet on this day, if Lori happened to keep that letter from that last letter from Mina, could have that sent to the house and can read it, and that might bait her out.
An interesting proposal. And we have not had a letter read, so perhaps one exists.
Oh.
Clever, clever. Velociraptor. Oh, yes.
I think that's a great idea. I mean, I don't really know how it all works for sure, but I think that would be enough to rile up anyone, dormant or not, from within.
Indeed. Yeah, have Lori read that letter from her to him, and offer that space for her to give her parting words and potentially fight her.
Oh yeah. I think
You
we're
do
gonna
know
have
part of the process is going to be having to weaken her enough that she has to let go of Reyna, because otherwise she'll just transform back into Reyna. Because right now the two of them are inseparable. That's the only way to get the mayor to let her go, is to basically beat her into submission, so she leaves Reyna alone. Because Reyna just happens to be the hapless victim here.
poor babe.
A vessel.
Does that mean though that we're attacking Reyna first?
Well, it
She
seems
comes
like
out,
from
I think,
basically
first.
what Cassie was saying, it's a pretty complete transformation. So like the body and everything, and the thing that's been like that Lori saw sitting on her, right? It's like a full ass transformation. So yes, so you cannot kill the mayor. You have to weaken her significantly, and then you also have to banish her. That's why this is so much harder than it normally would be, because otherwise you are going to kill Reyna.
Okay. And the banishing part of it, that's just the resolution that she feels her promise is fulfilled, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So beating her back will make her probably separate from Reyna. Like, so they'll turn into two different bodies. And then once you have the mayor there, and she's trapped, and she can't go anywhere, she can't run away, bringing her that final resolution.
Got it.
Is the way to make her go. Like a permanent banishment. Lay it to rest, almost. So this phase shares a lot in common with undead. Here, I can show you, actually.
Ooh. She's got that, like, 50s bullet bra.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, well, those are her boobies.
I know, but it's like the inspiration for the 50s
Cone.
bullet
Super
bra.
nips. Yeah, so I've been drawing from Vesson, literally a game where you play fairy hunters. So I was like, we're going outside of D&D for this. So wrote some new stats. It's all good. So this is
Very
the kind
cool.
of shit that people were terrified of in ancient Norway. So
I mean, did you
It's
see
terrifying.
it?
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
So women who, were either like, they were murdered before they got married, or somebody like betrayed them or whatever, or somebody, went back on their promise. The mayor would come, or men who were like shitty and ungrateful, like the mayor would
that's
possess
kinda
someone and take
metal.
vengeance on them. No, it's metal as shit. I mean, it's Norway, right? So like
Yeah.
all the fucking fae from there. There's a reason this whole system is set in Norway, because they like bonkers.
Love
Bonkers amount of nasty fae.
All right.
Don't fuck up. Don't fuck up, men. The world and the fae are gonna get you. I'll tell you about woodwives one day. That's
You're gonna tell us about it as you're killing us with it, I'm sure.
It's okay. It's okay. We're all femmes here. All right. Sweet. So so what's the game plan?
Prep the room.
Yep.
So that we can like have it open like by the door, and then throw down the herbs in front of the door. So once she's in there. she can't get out. We'll have Lori in there already with the letter, and we're gonna have them read it, right? And then that will coax her out. And when she's out, then we fighty, and then Lori needs to have his moment of closure with her, right? That sound
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I will say at this point too, Laurie's like he's totally resigned. He knows he fucked up. He's doing whatever. So when you ask him about the letters or stuff, he will say, I mean, he and Mina met in that lake house, like routinely. That was where they had their trysts. And he is pretty sure that she kept any of the letters he sent there. Sorry, threw my pen in anger.
Calm down, Celeste.
Oh, it's so dramatic. I can't not do dramatic. I'm sorry. We'll have a fun Faye one of these. I'm guessing our guest to be announced. We'll have some very fun episodes coming up, but not today. So he thinks that probably if there was any evidence or the letters or anything, they may very well still be hidden at that place. So also, that was a place that was very important to the two of them. So if you did want to pick a room, that might be extra summoning juice. And it's away from people as a bonus, too, because
True.
the streets are fucking packed with guests and such.
We
So
could-
if you fuck up, like, at least...
And prying eyes.
Yes.
We could probably convince one of the event coordinators that like something has changed, like switch out their record and like the one who works closely with Rena, and to have them be like, oh shit, you actually have to go to the lake house. They decided that the party
Right.
will be there.
Yeah.
Oh, this after dinner
this was
thing is
booked,
happening.
And like, so this is where you're going to come in. We're changing it. You're going to come in on a boat. You're going to get dressed there. It's going to be super cute. And then like, yeah.
We love a boat. Oh my god. The
well,
paddle boat.
The event coordinators fucking love you, Lou, after you were like so nice to them. So they love you. They'll make it happen for you. And of course, Sten will, help subtly grease the wheels of whatever needs to be done.
So sneaky. Does he want to be part of my family?
He would be good, but he's like a retired cop, so he has too much of the lawful in him to ever really be part of the family. But it's career, man.
All right. Yeah, that sounds good. I like this plan.
All right. Yeah, so I guess just let me know when you want to action that. So far, the mayor has only appeared at night, so you may have to wait until at least sunset to be able to stage this. But
I think we'd probably spend the afternoon searching the lake house for the hidden letters, setting everything up, setting it so that the after dinner party or whatever is happening at the lake house because it's going to be cute and whatever and lit with fairy lights and shit.
Shit.
it's so fucking cute.
It's going to be Pinterest perfect. And then, stating that so after dark when she's most likely to be lured out.
Yeah, sounds good to me. Also, then we'll be fighting by twinkle light, and I love that for us.
Fighting evil by moonlight. Love it. I think okay, cool. So yeah, you're running around all day. Are you just expecting Reyna to show up? Like you're just changing your schedule casually? Is she gonna show up? It's just gonna be you? Are you all gonna talk to her at all beforehand or
I don't really know that talking to her is going to really help at all. Because she doesn't have any idea about the affair or what's going on with her.
Based on what Cassie told you, it's pretty much the woman who is possessed or like hosts this thing seems to have no idea.
We
that
can
this
say
happens.
some shit like it's just like, oh, we're gonna try this hypnosis technique, trying to put you under, maybe bring up some memories of what happened, what took you out to the lake that night. Something simple and peaceful.
Just gosh.
Yeah.
Settle you before your big dive.
Yeah, get any like leftover things out of you before you start your new life. We'll do
She'll be like, oh, who are you, my parents' friends? Weird.
But yeah,
Just
I
to
think
make her
too,
more receptive to being,
Sure, yeah.
we could set it up too that like Lori wants to like share a moment with his future like daughter too, and like because he's gonna just be there and she's gonna be like, what the fuck, why?
Why?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. You can totally arrange things, and you're running around all day, like getting that all prepped and stuff. I do think at some point, Toni, your dad will want to talk to you.
Okay.
Yeah, so in the middle of something, he'll kind of like pull you over and try to have a private moment, and he'll say, I I know that was probably all really hard to hear, and I'm still I still don't really know what to think about all that. How are you doing?
Well, I'd say a lot of my family image is a little bit cracked and shattered, but I don't think that's as important for me as it is for you or Enzo. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I've been trying to think about it. I guess we've had a few hours, and I don't know. I think that Laurie is he's never felt much. He's never had an easy time of expressing his feelings. He's always been very closed off, even since we were kids. I never knew what he was thinking. He always played it so close. His heart was so closed off. And the more I think about it, he must have felt so much for this girl. I know it's not fair of me to ask, but I think we should forgive him at least a little bit for what he did. I know he regrets it. And I can see how hard this must have been to go alone. And if he loved her and was suffering for a year and didn't even feel like he could tell his own brother. That must have been hard for him.
Dad, it's always very sweet how good you are to people and how big of a heart you have for people, especially when they make mistakes. And yeah, I can tell it was a big mistake. But I don't see any love in what he did. I think he saw what he saw and thought of himself first. Because I can't imagine seeing someone you love alone, dead, cold, and wet, and walking away. You can forgive him, but I think we're more than allowed to be mad at him, at least for a while.
I think, as we've always said, what you feel is what you feel, and you should feel it. And I think we're all mad at him now, including himself. Whatever you have to do, I ask that you remember at the end of the day, he is my brother. And he has proven himself to be a fool. But even fools deserve their family's protection.
Well, I know that, Dad. You can't forget he's my uncle. That's why this is so difficult.
For me too. Imagine Gio doing something like this. All right, I just wanted to say that. It's just before whatever happens, happens. I don't pretend to know how any of this stuff works. Any of this Fae stuff works. That's your world now, not mine. I just think of your family.
Yeah, that's all I think about.
I don't.
I don't believe in. At least I don't think he deserves extra punishment. Yeah, I'm mad at him and I'm not ready to give him any kind of forgiveness right now, but I don't intend to punish him further.
All right. I trust you. I'm sorry this had to happen. We're all sorry. Poor Enzo. All right, well, you let me know if you need me. Whatever you need me to do.
How about let's just not keep secrets from each other?
I promise that, kid. I have got nothing. Nothing like this.
Yeah.
How it was so easy for your mother and I, you know? We got very lucky. It's never been easy for Lori. Clearly, it was even more complicated than we thought.
I mean, it was a wild story to hear. That's for sure.
If
I
I
can't-
had
I
guessed,
can't-
that would not have been my guess. No.
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 I mean, I guess it's really the end of the story that's so terrible. I feel like it totally could have gone another way had he just been honest about the way he felt.
Or
That's what's the hardest thing.
or if the tragedy hadn't happened. If he felt he could have been honest. There are a lot of ifs and could haves. That's why life is hard. All right, I've taken enough of your time. I've got to go get ready for a wedding.
All right. Well, you'll see Lori soon.
Yes,
Well, you'll see me soon too.
of course. Thanks, kid.
Thanks, boss.
And he goes off to do his thing. So yeah, so you all have your plan. You've got a solid plan. So basically, you're going to, when it gets to evening time, you've got a way to get Reyna alone on her own on the island. Lori is going to be there. You've got the letters that he exchanged with Reyna, and he's going to read one and basically summon this creature here. You've done all your prep work. You have like magical herbs that you can use to like seal the doors, windows. So you've got a solid plan. So all that lies before you is to do it. So, you know, as the evening draws closer, you all paddle out to the island and, you know, park your boats on the far side and prep the space. And Lori's there with you. He's been very quiet and just trying to be as unproblematic as possible during all this process as he goes and, you know, takes a station. And you can see as darkness is setting, like the lantern, you know, of Reyna's boat, like coming across the water. And there's definitely a feeling of, I would say, dread, at least coming from Lori, about so many things that never got a chance to be laid to rest, that are about to be drawn out into the open.
In more way than one.
In more way than one. And that's where we're going to end our episode for today. So thank you so much, everybody, for stopping in an extra long, not sweet sweet and sour episode of Venture Maidens. Whoo, how are y'all feeling?
Feeling so much. You know those family dramas get me.
I know. Somebody said, "Oh my God, the favorite campaign is just like the family drama campaign." I'm like, yeah, it is. This is when you have big families and you have so many ties to the world, and
Oh my God, Aoife's got
Shit
like
gets
900
messy.
siblings
I know.
alone.
Wait till we till we even get there. God, what is
I
going
can't
on
wait
with
till it-
Eva's family?
I think, well, Aoife is the oldest, so there's not a lot of drama happening with her mostly toddler
Babies.
siblings, basically. Little kids.
The hottest goss is that your parents are super hot, circus folk. So that's just what that
Ooh,
is.
yeah.
Ooh, so hot. But yeah, so thank you all so much for stopping by, for sticking with us. Again, we are the Venture Maidens. If you enjoyed what you saw here, please do like, subscribe, follow, whatever platform you're on, do the thing. And if you really enjoy us, of course, you can always go to Patreon, patreon.com/Venture Maidens is where you can go to donate, make either a one-time donation, or, a monthly donation to help support the show. We love all of our beautiful, wonderful patrons, and we will say thank you to the highest tiers in just a moment here. But before we go, we got some news. So Sage, do you want to start with your news?
Yes, so this coming Saturday, December 17th, I will be playing Magic the Gathering for a charity stream. So for a Twitch channel called Oops, I'll Salt, we'll be playing some games of Magic in order to raise money for a charity which researches and helps fight cancer. So we will be raising good money for a good cause. So come to the Oops, I'll Salt Twitch stream. They'll be doing it for 24 hours, but I will be there at the 6 p.m. PST slot in the evening. So, but yeah, come drop in, drop a buck if you can. Say hi.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. And make sure to also look there in the chat for that link there. So be sure to be there. Do it. Do the thing. Heck yeah. And then also, Nassim, you had some news, some updates you wanted to share as well, yes?
Yes. So the news is about a little unchanged, but things are still progressing in Iran. Protests have not slowed down. They are increasing in size. As you are aware, hopefully by now, that it is a full-blown revolution, and the human rights atrocities happening in Iran are only growing by the day. And there's ways that you can help by remembering that your representatives work for you. And there is a link coming to chat right now. Those of you listening at home can go to NUFDiran or NUFDiran.org. That's NUFDIRAN.org. And there is a link for you to locate your local representatives, whether Democrat, Republican, doesn't matter. It's not a political issue. There is a pre-written script that you can copy and paste, send to those representatives that requests attention on the human rights crisis in Iran, so that the representatives can find ways to support the freedom fighters on the streets. Sorry, my cat is all over the place while I'm saying this. And it does not call for Western intervention. It's like giving internet access to protesters, drawing eyes on what's happening in Iran, getting Iran off the UN Council Commission for Women, things like that. And it would be really great if you could copy that, paste it, and send it to your representatives, and just continue to echo the voices that are coming from Iran itself. If you struggle at all to understand what those voices are saying because you're not Iranian, I totally understand. Follow me on social media. I follow a lot of human rights groups. I'm Nazgul everywhere online. And if you want to stay up to date that way, I'm posting all the time about the situation. So you can follow me as well.
And as always,
thank you.
Oh yes, thank you, Nassim. And as always, you can find those links. They're in the chat right now, and they will be included as well in the show notes of this podcast episode. So go and you can see it there. And whatever app you're in, click on the episode, you'll see it right there in the text. Wonderful. All right. Well, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, we like to take some time every episode to thank our Patreons who donate, or patron donors at the highest donor tiers, who really do just work tirelessly to keep the lights on by like giving us money every month. Thank you, you amazing, beautiful humans. I don't know if you know this, but podcasting doesn't make any money like on its own normally. So we put hours and hours and hours, basically full-time jobs worth of hours into making this show for you, and it's completely free. So for those of you who see that and appreciate that, if you've ever done anything free for anyone else and you want to say thank you, highly recommend being like these goddamn heroes and donating at least something on Patreon to us. So we want to go around and say thank you, with starting with our Arnie's cohort tier. Thank you so much, Debbie.
Thank you, Curry.
And thank you, Muffin, at the one on Drury Lane on Twitter.
Indeed. And thank you, Nissa McKinnon.
And for our fairest drinking mate tier, thank you so much, Chris.
Thank you, Markali.
You Fable.
Thank you, Toni. What's up?
Toni, thank you so much, Sheepish Gnome. Thank you.
And thank you to our wiki god, Ben, aka Flower Crown.
You
Gaming.
beautiful god of words. Wonderful. Well, thank you everybody so much for being here. I have been your dungeon master, Celeste Conowitch.
Hello, my name's Katie, and I have played the very Sath, your drow rogue.
Hello, I'm Nassim, and I have been your half-orc fighter, Toni Silvertail.
And I am Sage, and I have been your bard, Aoife Flannery.
Yes. Well, thank you everybody so much for sticking with us through this long, knives out, juicy episode. And until next time, everybody.
Venture away!
Venture away, everybody. Bye-bye.